Hello, all you beautiful people. Here I am. It's a beautiful evening here in the Napa Valley. And I'm coming to you from my office. Oh, there we go. Now you can mute the thing. Anyway, here we are. I haven't done a live stream in a while. It's great to be live streaming again, talking to all of you out there listening in. So a couple announcements. I posted a video this morning. If you haven't already seen it, go check it out. It's video number 283. And you'll probably notice in the pinned comments that I already got a troll. Within 10 minutes of posting the video, there was a troll waiting to pounce. And pounce she did. She hates my voice. She thinks my narration is crap. You'll see her. Her name is Patty something. I forgot her last name. Patty something. Anyway, she's commented before, basically the same thing. And I'm not sure what she's thinking. Does she think I'm just going to stop posting videos just because she doesn't like it? But yet, I'm going to keep posting videos. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep up with this. Patty Thomas, thank you. I'm going to keep going with this. And she's going to keep on commenting. And like the coward that she is, she's going to hide behind her computer screen, typing angrily, and thinking that I'm going to change my strategy. Nope. I'm here to stay, guys. I'm not going to let people like that stop me from what I love to do. I'm going to do this as long as I'm alive and until cars go completely autonomous. And oh, did she? Oh, I don't know. Where did her chat go? Maybe she deleted her comment after she got a ton of heat. She's got like a lot of you guys went in there and gave her shit in return, which is nice. I appreciate that. So anyway, video was posted this morning. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And if all goes well, I should have another video out next Friday as well. I've got a little bit of a backlog of content that I need to go through. So I got another video next week, number 284. And then if all goes well, the week after that, we'll have deleted scenes compilation number 6. I need to unload all the deleted clips that are still taking up space on my hard drive. What else is new? I wish I was feeling better, you guys, but and I went all winter without getting sick. Yes, that's right. I almost always get sick at some point during the winter. And I managed to go all winter without getting sick, thinking, yeah, I'm going to make it to the other side of cold and flu season without catching a single bug. And started feeling a little off a couple days ago, and here I am today feeling extremely under the weather, like a truck ran me over. I'm running a fever. I feel like I should be laying in bed. But I'm sticking to my guns. I don't like to let things slow me down. Just like I don't let trolls slow me down. I don't let an illness slow me down from doing this live stream. I'm committed to it, and I'm going to do it. I've got my beer, as I traditionally do when I live stream. Yeah, I know. A sick guy with a fever drinking beer. Probably not the best idea, but it'll get me through. Got a Racer 5 ale that I've got here in my glass. And but I'm probably not going to last as long as I typically do, only because I am sick, so I should probably at some point get some rest. So I plan on going for at least 2 hours. And I believe that's it for the announcents. I have a special guest this evening. He is Bad Drivers of the Bay Area. There's another Dashcam or Bad Drivers of the East Bay, and it's easy to get the names confused, but it's Bad Drivers of the Bay Area. I've been watching his videos ever since he started, and dashcamming, and I love his content. He lives within an hour's drive of where I live, so he's a local, and maybe someday I'll do a Dashcam meetup, and maybe I can meet him. Anyway, so he's here tonight. Welcome, Bad Drivers of the Bay Area.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
And I'm delighted to have him tonight. So So here you are. We've been talking about doing this for a while, doing this live stream and having you as a guest. So you've been So tell everyone out there how long you've been dash camming.
Yeah, so pretty much started, I'd say 2013 is a good date to go with, was when I posted my first video on YouTube. And it was actually, or actually, I think it was Facebook, where I was just sharing it with my family.
Mhm.
And it all started, I was just driving all the time to work and realized, hey, if something happens, it's going to be a good idea to have, some sort of video record. If the person tries to lie, or the kind of functional reason to have a dash cam when you're driving, especially in
Yeah.
the area. And the first thing was, there was a guy that first saw him. He was tailgating somebody and was, sort of noticed him, and he ended up behind me, and then he decided to pass me on the right and pulled the old thread the needle move and
Wow.
cut me off really bad. And so I put it together with that one song. I can't remember the artist, but it was really popular around that time, where the hook is, "You didn't have to cut me off."
Oh,
And so
yeah.
I put that, just, it was funny. It was like trying to kind of put light uh, to the situation, and everybody on my Facebook thought it was hilarious. So I thought, hey, I could kind of use this as an outlet to, kind of keep my sanity, and all these stupid people I'm coming across on the road. If I can turn that into something like, oh, hey, I'm glad that happened, because now I can put it in my YouTube video.
Wow.
It's sort of the genesis of that was, just a way to put a positive spin on some of the bad things happening out there.
And do you find that by posting these videos, it kind of actually makes you feel better about all the shit you have to put up with every day on the
Oh,
roads? Like,
absolutely.
like
Yeah,
now I
it's
have an
very
outlet for
cathartic.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And yes, yeah, Gautier, I think. Yeah, that was the name of the
OTA.
guy.
That's
Yep,
right.
somebody that I used to know. That was it.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when that
And
song
then
first came out.
so from that point, that was around the time I got a motorcycle, and I knew for a fact I was going to have some sort of video camera going there, with the dangers inherent with riding a motorcycle. So I was
Yeah.
riding to work with a helmet cam, and I actually had a channel with my helmet cam videos, and there was just too much stuff happening there. It was like I had too
Wow.
much content, and then once I hung up the motorcycle gear, I decided, well, I'm just going to keep doing this, but I'm going to do it in the car.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I had gotten rear-ended on 680. I actually was deciding, instead of riding the motorcycle, I'm going to drive my car. And I just
Yeah.
grabbed my helmet cam, just thinking, hey, why not? I'll just grab my helmet cam, stick it on the dash. And sure enough, I get rear-ended. And
Oh God.
the camera went flying, but it made for a dramatic video.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I
from
didn't.
from then on, I just decided to keep going with it.
Yeah, I didn't know that you rode motorcycles.
Yep,
I don't know. Somehow I missed that. Was that a different channel?
it was, and I think I ended up just taking it down. I wasn't really happy with the some of the content. It just wasn't quite good enough. I was getting a lot of backlash from other motorcyclists, like, hey,
Oh.
that stuff happens every day. Why are you making a big deal out of it? And, yeah.
I think those are the comments we still all get to this
Oh
day.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Snowcat?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to upload much anymore.
No. Yeah. His channel definitely changed, as
Yeah.
far as content, once he started making a little
Yeah.
bigger name for himself.
For sure. For sure. I know he gets a lot of controversy. Yeah.
Just going through the chat here. So one MC
Yeah.
mishap, and that's it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what that means, but I had a lot of mishaps on my bike,
Oh,
and I
motorcycle.
still kept going.
Yeah.
Um, I did the day I decided to not ride anymore. I was on a ride out in San Francisco,
Mm.
and my bike started giving me technical issues,
Mm.
and it wouldn't stay running. I had to keep jumping it, and luckily I had a friend in a car,
Uh,
and he was able to kind of keep me jumped, and we
yeah.
got caught in some really bad traffic, and it was weird because it wasn't a time where you would normally see traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make my way back home and get the bike sorted out, and it just keeps dying on me. I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna need to call a tow truck, but at that point we were in the thick of the traffic, And so my buddy's just like, hey, let's get it as, jumped as we can, make sure all your connections are good, and then just try to make your way home, see how far you can make yourself, split through traffic and see how far you can go.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, here we go. Said a little prayer. And as I'm making my way through, I'm getting up to the Caldecott Tunnel and I see what had caused all the traffic.
Yeah.
And there's a motorcycle getting lifted up on a flatbed. So I knew there was a motorcycle accident and I recognized the motorcycle.
Oh,
And it's a buddy of mine who
wow.
had gotten taken out by someone changed lanes into him.
Oh, geez.
And I didn't find that out till I got home, but all I knew was, wow, another motorcyclist is down. It's a bad night for bikes. And I'm making my way through and I'm in the Caldecott Tunnel and I realized there's no shoulder in that
Right.
floor of the tunnel. So I know if my bike dies on me, I'm screwed. I don't even want to think about what's going to happen if my bike just craps out and I've got how many cars behind me trying to make it through this tunnel.
Oh, gosh.
But somehow I made it all the way back home at that point to Pleasant Hill. And just that was the last time I rode the bike because my second daughter was on the way at that point. My wife was pregnant.
Yeah.
And having then find out that my friend, was almost killed that night, it was like all the signs were pointing to hanging it up. So, the bike wasn't working anyway, so I wasn't going to be riding it, and haven't been on it since. So.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh, I just got so much I want to talk to you about because I've been watching your videos forever. It's like he's a local. I want to talk to this guy. This is really cool. I think you're the closest dash camera there is to me right now. There used to be. Do you remember Stephanie H, who later changed her Bad Drivers channel name to Northern California Drivers?
Yes.
And she was dash cam in the Santa Rosa area.
Yeah, I remember her.
We became good friends, although I haven't heard from her in a long time just because, she's got a very busy job and I'm really busy and we just kind of, I really should reach out to her, but she's not dash camming anymore. She's just kind of, like it's happened a lot in the dash cam community lately where, they've got other priorities that, with life and everything that take over. And like Katie G is another dash cammer from South Florida that just announced to me last night that she's going to be hanging up the Dashcam channel as well. And then we had Wendy, who was Bad Drivers of Connecticut originally, and then became Bad Drivers of Tucson, and she pretty much stopped. And then Stephanie, and got a lot of dash cammers sort of moving out. It's just part of life, though.
Oh yeah,
because everybody has other stuff that comes up. In fact, I did invite Katie. I should email her. Now that I mention her, I should probably send her let's see, available to chat. I'm just emailing her. She wasn't sure because she's got, a kid and everything, and something like if her kid doesn't sleep that she won't be able to join. Yeah. So let me pull this back up. But anyway, it's again, I'm delighted to be talking to you and everything. So you obviously live in the East Bay area or work there.
Yeah, work, live, grew up. In your area, you might not be privy to it, but a small town called Oakley.
Oh, I know where Oakley is. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And went through life, saying, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm in Oakley." Like, Oakland? No, Oakley.
Oakley.
Where's Oakley? Like, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know if you saw the video I posted this morning. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet. Number 283.
Not yet.
Oh, I drove through Concord and Walnut Creek, and I got some crazy stuff. Actually, this is really interesting. I wonder if I could play the clip without this thing wigging out. Maybe I'll try to screen share this so that you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let me go to another window. Oh, hang on one second. Oh, okay. I'll put my beer right here.
I'm not surprised that you had something happen to you in Concord or Walnut Creek.
Oh man, this was kind of scary because I didn't see it coming. So it would have, if we had actually collided, it would have taken me completely by surprise. So basically, it's that stretch of Oh, excuse me. It's that stretch of Highway 680 between, well, it's south of Martinez as you're coming into Concord. And I don't know what they did with the freeway. I didn't have any trouble staying in my lane,
Hmm.
but you could tell where they had shifted some of the lanes, like they had resurfaced the roadway or something.
Right.
I don't know if that sounds familiar to you.
Is that right around, say, the Pacheco Boulevard exit?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in that general area, and everybody was having a hard time staying in their lanes.
Hmm.
It was really crazy.
I know they've been doing a lot of shifting lanes around because they're putting in those express lanes.
Oh, is that it?
If you see any of those places where a lane just sort of juts out at a weird angle, that
Yeah,
is apparently due to them putting in the signs and all the hardware for the express lanes.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start a screen share. Here we go. Okay, you could probably see that. It looks weird.
Yeah,
Probably seeing windows within windows within windows here.
right.
Okay, now you see a black screen?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna click play. So you probably recognize that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now watch this little SUV. It's like a Honda or Toyota SUV right there,
Hmm.
in the white thing in the lane to my right, but ahead of me right there.
Yep.
See, she just drifted out of her
She's
lane.
all over the place.
That's the first one. Now look at this guy, this truck. He just
Wow.
Yeah. And now what? Now the third one is the one that almost sideswiped me. Okay, it's this white Mercedes SUV coming up behind me here.
Hmm.
Zombie zoinked Zoe. And here she comes. See, she can't stay in her lane. Now watch this
Wow.
right here. Oh, she comes within inches of hitting me
Oh,
right there.
jeez.
And I gave her a little horn. It was a little delayed, but I thought, right here, I slow it down a
Yep.
little. Look at that.
Wow.
Oh, it freaked me out.
Oh, I'll bet.
I thought, now, yeah, the sham wow. But wait, there's more. Now, if we back up a little ways, a few miles, when I'm coming off the Martinez Bridge, she's driving in two lanes there, the same person.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that crazy? Now, the commentary's funny. Now, here's another clip in Concord. This probably happens a lot. I'm about ready to
That's
turn
Walnut
left,
Creek.
or
Yeah.
Walnut Creek. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's senile Sergio in the white Honda Civic, and I'm trying to turn onto Treat
Oh, yeah.
here.
Yeah, my
And
wife used to work at the Bevmo right there to the left of you. Been
oh,
there a lot.
now do you see how this guy's wanted to turn onto Treat, but he
Oh,
realized, does that happen a lot there?
yeah. There's a lot of last minute bails and last minute decisions made around
Yeah.
that area for sure.
Now back in Napa, I captured this one cutting across all lanes suddenly. That was
Lovely.
kind of scary. But anyway, that's that. Yeah. So that was my adventure.
Yeah, that all looks familiar.
I was I was in the Mount Diablo area.
Yep,
Huh?
that's right around me.
That's a really cool state park. I love it there. Yeah, I'll probably be going back again soon.
Yeah, you'd mentioned doing a meetup. I'd definitely be down for that. Just let me
Yeah.
know whenever you're in the area. I'm off every weekend, so
Oh, cool. Saturday, Sunday?
yep.
Oh, neat.
I might have the kids one day, but my wife usually works weekends, so she takes care
Yeah.
of the kids during the week, and then I've got them on the weekends.
Oh, cool. Well, we could always I know my wife and I uh she's never been to Mount Diablo. I've been there, but she's never been there. And I thought of doing a little hike. Do you do much in the way of hiking or any outdoor stuff?
Not too much. I know I need to get out more, at least, do a little bit more, even just exercise in general. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say you're always welcome to join us.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I know my wife's definitely not the outdoorsy type, so it'd probably just be myself. But
Yeah. Yeah. You ever been to the top of Mount Diablo? You ever driven
I
up there?
have, yeah, the Mount Diablo Astronomical Society does I think it's every month, they'll do a special program. You just go up there, and they've got all sorts of telescopes and different
Hmm.
things up there. So drove up there one time with my daughter because she was going through a moon phase, pardon the
Uh,
pun,
yeah.
and she just really wanted everything to do with astronomy. So I took her up there, and It's quite a drive though, especially going back
Oh, I
down.
know. It's long. It's like 40 minutes from where you pay to get in at the bottom to the top.
Yeah,
Takes
it was
forever.
it was beautiful going up.
Oh, yeah.
Right around sunset time. It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming back down if you don't have a lot of confidence in your driving, it can be. It was fun for me, but I was piloting my tank of a Crown Victoria down all those
Oh my gosh. Well,
curvy roads.
fortunately they have a very low speed limit.
Hmm.
So
True.
negotiating those curves is pretty good. At least it was for me, and I found myself I have an automatic transmission, but I found myself shifting into one of the automatic, one of the lower gears,
Yeah,
one of the limiter gears to so I wouldn't have to use my brakes so much going
yeah.
down.
Use some engine braking.
Use and braking.
Yep.
But that state park is just it's huge.
Hmm.
There's so much there.
Yep.
I want to check out Mitchell Canyon and the Black Diamond Mines to the north. I mean, there's a lot of places I want to explore
Oh, I can remember.
out that way. I'm a very avid hiker. I hike a lot, and I'm just always like wanting to find new places to check out. But I find myself getting stuck in the same, like it's weird. It's like I find places that I really like, and I just kind of stick to them, and I have to really push myself to try new places. You know,
Right.
I'm just one of those people. It's kind of like when I go out to eat. I have,
Yeah.
my favorite restaurants. It's like, oh, I've got this one dish that I really like, and
Yeah.
I always have to get that same one every time. So
Right.
I'm always having to push myself to do new things, and I'm glad when I do. But
Yeah, I definitely had to do that with marrying my wife. She's Vietnamese, so
oh,
I was open to a whole new world of cuisine.
oh
That
yeah,
even to this day, there's some stuff where I'm like, you know what, I'm open minded, but I'm
yeah,
not that open minded.
right, yeah. So that's cool. So I want to talk about your Crown Vic a little bit because I've always liked Crown Vics. I always thought they were awesome cars.
Yeah.
I've always wanted one. Um, and when I drove limos, I drove, obviously Lincoln Town cars
Hmm.
are the ones that come to mind, and that's what what we drove mostly. And I
Which
absolutely
is
felt
essentially town cars are
essentially,
just a very
yeah,
more expensive Crown Victoria.
exactly. Same chassis, same
Yep.
engine,
Exactly.
but a little slightly different body. Well, actually, quite a bit of a different body, but
Yeah.
I just fell in love with the way it drove.
Yeah.
With the Lincoln Town car drove.
I'm on my second Crown Vic now, as you know, if
Yeah,
you watch my channel.
yeah.
First one, it was the same time I got rid of the bike, and I knew, okay,
Uh,
I'm going to need a second vehicle, but I don't want to spend a lot of money.
so
And
so your first Crown Vic, remind me, it was what year was it?
it was a 2011, so the last year that they made
2011.
them.
Okay, it was like maroon color or something.
It was black.
Oh, it was black.
Yeah,
Okay, was it an ex-police car or?
it was former, I
Oh.
believe. The guy said it was Sacramento County Sheriff, if I want to say.
Ah, I'm trying to remember too, but I don't remember if it had the bull bars on the front.
It didn't. It had
I didn't think it
the
did.
holes where those used to be mounted, but it didn't have
Yeah.
those. It didn't have the spotlights either, which I didn't want. I didn't want it to. The whole reason I got it was not to try to look like a police officer or anything like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a big part of it was, I wanted something cheap but reliable
Yeah.
and easy to work on, and also with, a little bit of power. And I'm
Yeah.
also, over 6 foot, and any car I was getting into that was cheap was usually like a Honda Civic, or I think I test drove a friend was selling an Acura Integra for like 3 grand, and I couldn't fit in anything comfortably. And then I test drove a Crown Vic and was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Do you
Basically a couch on wheels.
Basically, a couch on wheels. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. Bad Drivers of South Florida says, "Hey Napa, if you want people to drive better, drive a Crown Vic." So
Yeah.
that brings me to my next point. Did you find that people respected you or seemed to obey the law more when you drove that versus other vehicles?
I did at times, not as much as I maybe thought I would when I was first shopping for one.
Yeah.
Especially with the black one, because that was, a lot more police car looking than my current one.
Yeah.
I did have some people where I'd get behind them and they were hogging the left lane, and I'd maybe flash my brights at them or something, and they would literally pull over. I
That's
literally
good.
had someone, I think I included in one of my compilations, where the guy getting off a freeway, and I'm at freeway speeds coming off the freeway,
Yeah.
still slowing down, but he was doing like 20 or 30 or something ridiculous like that. And
Yeah.
he ended up just literally pulling over. I was like,
Wow.
oh, I
That's
didn't need you to do that. I just was hoping maybe you'd speed up.
that's
But,
crazy. Vehicle violence in the chat there. He's from Saudi Arabia, and he sent me some clips, and he says, "Yeah, Crown Vic's rule the road." And I'm going to ask him a question. And there's a little bit of a
mhm.
delay, so when we talk, it's about 30 seconds until they hear what we just said. So his response will probably be a bit delayed. So I'm going to throw the question out there for him because I'm genuinely curious.
Okay.
So in Saudi Arabia, I don't know generally what kind of cars you see, but I've seen a lot of Fords in his videos. So vehicle violence, have you seen Crown Vics on the roads in Saudi Arabia? And while we're waiting for that answer to come up, and so now you have another Crown Vic to replace the 11 that got hit.
Right.
What do you have now again?
It's an '07 Crown
Oh,
Vic,
07. Yeah.
and it's kind of a. What's weird in the pictures when I was shopping for it, it looks silver,
Mm-hmm.
but when certain light hits it, and you can really see it in my videos, it has almost like a gold undertone to it,
Mm,
which my
yeah.
wife really likes. She's like, "Ooh, it's so like glittery and gold." Wasn't my first
Yeah.
choice. I really like the black. I've just always been partial to black vehicles,
Yeah.
even though they're incredibly hard to keep up looking nice. But
Oh, I know. They get
when they do look nice, they look amazing. Like once it's
yeah.
freshly clean,
It's
they
freshly
look great.
clean. Yeah, but after a
Um,
rain, they get all dirty.
yeah, so this one's an '07. It's still the P71. It's the police
Oh,
interceptor,
cool.
but it has the street appearance package. So it's got all the chrome and the body color accents that the regular P71s do not have.
Right. So
And
I take it.
also, mhm.
Oh, I take it that wasn't a former police car, the one you have now.
It it is the police interceptor, but I don't believe from just looking at it that it ever
Oh,
saw
okay.
any sort of actual service.
Oh,
It
okay.
could have been maybe a higher up, like a administrator's car. I know sometimes government insurance investigators will use the Crown Vics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see any. It doesn't have holes for anything. Spotlights.
Right.
Nothing at all. The only thing that you can tell that it's the police interceptor versus a regular Crown Vic.
Yeah.
It's a very very small things like the wheels. It's got the steel wheels, not the alloys. Things on the interior, you can tell there's some
Right.
differences. But yeah, it's in incredible in condition. The guy who had it before me was a grandfather who basically just used it for bringing his kids or his grandkids around, and took really good care of it.
Yeah,
Um,
those are the best people to buy from are
exactly.
the elderly, because they may not drive as much. They may just go to the grocery store or church or picking up their grandkids or kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't see a lot. So how many miles is on it?
It's about 130,000, which for those
Yeah,
cars,
that's
that's
not
that's
bad.
nothing. But
That's nothing, yeah.
the really nice thing is the idle hours are very low. It's only got about 400 of those, which
Oh, yes, that's the thing about ex-police cars. They may
yeah,
have a certain amount of miles, but you can almost double the miles that they have just based on the
yep,
idle time they typically see
exactly.
and the
So
hard acceleration and
yep. So
yeah.
that was another key, something that told me that it wasn't used in actual police use.
Yeah. So someone has a question for anybody, and this includes us. Bad Driver South Florida asks, has anyone ever slammed on the brakes every time they see a cop, even if driving the limit? And I'd have to say no. Even if
No,
I'm going a little over the limit, I don't slam on the brakes.
no, definitely
I,
not. Yeah, I
I
might maybe ease up a little bit and just make sure that I'm at
yeah.
the limit, but
But
slamming on the brakes, no.
I've seen other people do it. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even if you're going
Even
under the limit.
yeah, being in my car, I have had that. Actually, just a couple weeks ago, I didn't save the clip. I wasn't really thinking it would be all that interesting, but yeah,
Yeah.
this guy in this like total souped up. I think it was an Audi. I saw him behind me just weaving through traffic, and he's flying up toward me, and he must have seen my car and just out of the corner of his eye saw that it was what it was, and all of a sudden he just didn't go past me.
He chilled out suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I going to say about that? I've driven 25 over the limit past a cop who was running speed enforcement. He was hidden in the bushes, not in his car. He was actually outside of his car, hidden in the bushes wearing camouflage with a radar gun, and it was actually on Highway 680 going south. It was between Fairfield and Benicia.
No, okay.
But we were all going 25 over the limit, which is why I was going 25 over the limit.
Yeah.
I just go with the flow.
Exactly.
I always go with the flow. And if everyone else is doing, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 over, well, then I'll go the same as everyone else because I feel it's safer to
Right.
It's the differences in speed that are the real danger. And so he was in the bushes, with his LiDAR, radar, whatever he had, and he didn't bother he didn't have anybody pulled over that I could tell.
I was doing that once, and that was actually when I got my first and only speeding ticket when I was 18.
Were you in a pack of cars?
I was.
All going the same speed?
All going the same speed, but what it was is I had a Monte Carlo back in those days.
Yeah.
Not one of the cool, hot rod or muscle car ones. It was a 2000. So it was one of the newer ones, but it was still pretty slick. I had it looking pretty good for being a front wheel drive V6.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just happened to be the only sporty looking car, I think. And, we were doing, I think 80, which to me, that doesn't seem like an excess of speed for the freeway, but we're all doing the same speed. And yeah, he lit me up and, gave me the old, do you know what I pulled you over for? And I think being naive 18-year-old, I was like, oh yeah, I think I was doing 80 or whatever. I'm like,
yeah.
But it was New Year's Eve, and I'm thinking, who knows? Maybe he was trying to get one more. One more. I don't think they have quotas per se.
Not anymore.
No,
they used to, but no, it's been outlawed in California.
Yeah.
But with that said, however, there were 2 California Highway Patrol divisions in the last 10 years that have been busted for trying to run quotas.
Yeah.
One of them was in Riverside, and then the other one was in the Sacramento area, and they were running quotas, and they got caught, and they got busted. So yeah, I'm glad that we don't have that here, and and it's gradually being done away with throughout the rest of the country. I think there's only like maybe a couple, 3 or 4 states still that where quotas are still a thing, but it's falling by the wayside. There's really not much of that anymore.
That should be for the best. That's kind of like getting rid of commission salespeople.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. But I guess I'm just really lucky because going with the flow, I find myself on the freeways going pretty fast. But when it comes to city road, say smaller highways, for example, like 2-lane highways, then I won't go much. I won't go much over 5 or 7. I even if everyone else is trying to go faster in those situations. It's mostly just on the freeway where it's like, well, if everyone else is going 20 over, then I'll go 20 over, but I limit that to the freeways. Highways, 2-lane highways, maybe 5 over. City streets, depends what city we're talking about.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Up Valley here, like say Yountville, St. Helena, Calistoga, where the police can and have pulled people over for going 2 or 3 over the limit, then I'll try to not go more than 2 or 3 over the limit. And in residential areas, I will never speed.
No,
I'll never exceed the speed limit, no matter what, because kids and animals and
exactly.
People's pets.
Yeah, the road I grew up on was a very straight, long. It went almost. Gosh, I don't even know how long that. It had to be at least like 2 miles.
Yeah,
traverse the entire thing. So we constantly had people flying down our street, and it's just not safe.
Bad Driver South Florida asks if California has red light cameras, and We do in some places, but they've had limited success. I know Napa and Santa Rosa had red light cameras for a long time, and they got rid of them. There are a lot of problems with that. They're kind of borderline, can be considered illegal. There's a lot of criteria that have to be met in order for a red light camera system to be legal. A lot of city leaders actually oppose them. I was even talking to a California Highway Patrol officer here in the Napa area. We have a CHP division here in Napa, and I had just submitted some dash cam footage to the officer in regard to a reckless driver that almost hit my wife head on, and we
Jeez.
got to talking about red light cameras, and he said that and he's a lieutenant, so he's a high-ranking officer in the division,
Hmm.
and said that he was very much against red light cameras,
Oh, okay.
very much against them, and so, um, you know, I think our mayor was against them, but the Napa Police Department was for them. So
Hmm.
even law enforcement officials and city officials disagree about red light cameras. So there's just not. Oh, Shadow Lady here is commenting, saying they took our red light cameras out. And she is in the Fairfield area, which, if anyone who's watched my videos long enough would know that Fairfield is one city over to our east. And I did not know that Fairfield had red light cameras. And I don't even know if San Francisco still has them. Do you know if they still do?
I don't. I haven't been, other than maybe going to a Giants game. I don't go into the city too often
It's
on
yeah.
on purpose. So
No, I understand that. It's crazy down. It's crazy there.
yeah,
But I got to be honest with you about San Francisco. I actually feel safer driving around San Francisco than I do a lot of the suburbs up here. Because I feel like people in San Francisco know how to drive because they have to know how to drive. Because
right.
if you're in a big city and you're a local and you don't know how to drive, you're not going to last very long there. And so locals, they know how to drive. They are aggressive and they are rude, but they know how to drive. You're not likely to be hit by, an
Right.
aggressive driver in San Francisco. They're very skilled. I do notice that they have a lot more driving skill than your typical suburban driver.
Exactly. Like you said, you have to. Like there's been many
Yeah.
times where I maybe have to pull a maneuver that isn't exactly legal,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like you have to do that, or you're either, like
Yeah.
you said, you're going to get hit, or you're going to just be hung out to dry and not be
Oh,
able to get where you're
absolutely.
going.
That's a thing I think a lot of people don't understand is they're in the city you have to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And I employ a different driving technique when I'm in a compact, dense urban environment as opposed to everywhere else. And sometimes you have to do things that may be seen as unethical in other places, but it's just kind of the way it rolls there. Sometimes you got to bend the rules a little bit with some things when it comes to driving in a really busy city.
Yep.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out, look like vehicle violence did answer your question.
Yeah, he did. I'm gonna have to scroll back up to see his answer. Where Toyota's very. Oh yeah, I noticed that in his videos that there are a lot of Toyotas in Saudi Arabia. Um, oh,
You'll
Crown
s-
Victorias are everywhere there. Wow,
mm,
that's kind of cool. Oh, Chris, don't worry about it. So Chris up there dislikes California drivers. Don't worry, I dislike California drivers too. So
yeah,
you and I, we're all in the same boat here. Don't
it's
worry.
kind of the whole point of our channels, actually.
Right. Yes, we're not exactly likers of
No.
California drivers here. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the way it goes when you're driving in a big city.
It's interesting she mentions especially ones from SoCal. I was actually right after I got rear-ended in my Crown Vic. I
Hmm.
had to head down that way for a funeral for a friend, unfortunately. And that was one of the things I was thinking of when I'm sitting there with my car smashed in was, oh, great, how am I going to get to my buddy's funeral?
Yeah.
But I ended up getting the rental, and the rental was, and you can see it in some of my clips from that time frame. They gave me some choices. They said you can have a Dodge Caravan, a
Ah,
Mitsubishi Mirage, which was like this little crap box.
a Shitsubishi.
Yeah, exactly.
A
And I'm like, well, that's
Shitsubishi.
a no. Or you can go with a 2017 Ford Expedition Limited.
Yeah.
Not the most difficult decision I ever made in my life, so I went with that. And so it was kind of cool. I had this super nice, leather, heated, cooled seats. Every option that Ford puts in them, and drove down there to SoCal, and I think the thing had like a turbo engine as well, so it was pretty fun to drive for being as big as it was. But I think I only got maybe one clip out of my entire time down there for about 3 days. I was actually pretty surprised. I thought I was going to end up with all sorts of different clips of drivers down there, but everyone was on pretty good behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Just reading through some of the comments. So does anybody in the comment section have questions for either of us? We're both open for questions, and we'd like to hear your
Yeah,
questions so we can
absolutely.
answer them. We'll answer them within reason. There's some things, that if it reveals our identity or too much about who we are, we will, we'll just tell you sorry. No, no comment. Like what's your name and social security number? Yeah, sorry, no, okay, can't give that out. What dash cams do we use? So I'll let you go first.
So currently right now in the white vehicle, the Odyssey, I've got a Thinkware FA 200, which is the newest addition to the stable. And it's a dual channel, so it gets the front and rear all on the same memory card, which I will not go without. I will never buy a single channel dash cam again, just with how useful it is to have that rear view. And then in the Crown Victoria, I have a KD Lynx R100, which is a little unique. I haven't seen too many of these on the market, but it actually is a rear view mirror with the camera built in, and it clips over your existing mirror. And it has the screen to see all of your video and your settings and everything like that, all there on the screen. And then when it times out, it just looks like a regular mirror. And it puts it in just the exact spot you'd want for where the dash cam is, and easily accessible for making any kind of saving clips or anything like that. So those are the two that I'm using right now, and they've treated me quite well so far.
Cool. Well, I'm running a Rexing V1 for my front camera and a G1W for the back. I no longer recommend those cameras because they've released newer versions of them since I bought ours many years ago, and I noticed that the newer models are actually worse than the older ones. It's like they're using cheaper lenses, and one of them had like a processor that compresses the footage more, and there's compression artifacts really bad, and they're just the lenses have gone downhill. I think part of the problem is that they're trying to use wider angle lenses, and the wider the angle lens that you have, the less sharp your image is going to be. And it's just those two things: a cheaper lens and wider angle, and you get worse quality. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I no longer recommend the ones that I'm using, but a lot of people seem to really like the new what's it called? Aukey, Aukey DRO2. People seem to like that one.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those around.
And then Bad Drivers of South Florida is asking us what our occupations are. I don't know if that's too personal for you. If I'll let you go first and handle that however you do.
I can just say, just in a general sense, because I think I've actually already mentioned it in some of the comments of my channel, but I'm a graphic designer. And so that kind of helps out with, part of why I enjoy doing my channel is because it's an outlet for doing, the cool graphics and my logo and things like that. So that's what I do is I design advertisements. I guess I can go that far.
Yeah. I remember that now. It's really cool that distance graphic that you were doing for your videos was awesome addition. Yeah, as far as my occupation, I was a chicken farmer. I'm not anymore. I got out of that business just because I'm moving on to other things. No, I was my chicken farming did not involve any kind of slaughter. In case anybody's wondering, we did not slaughter our chickens. It was strictly for egg production.
All right.
So there's that. I don't remember if I've mentioned my other occupations. So I probably shouldn't here, but I can tell you that I run a business that I've run for a long, long time. And hang on a second. Oh, we might. Oh, okay, Katie. I just was messaging Katie here that she can chat through text, so I see her that she's shown up in the chat here.
Cool.
So that's what I do. I wish I could tell you more, but kind of how that goes. Let's see. What other questions? What is the main car? Oh yeah, I have to stay quiet about what kind of cars we drive. Sorry, guys. Oh, Badger Shadow Lady has a question for you. What is your favorite roundabout?
Well, it's basically the only one in this area is that one there at the good old veranda. We get a lot of clips of those just based on we're just in that area a lot.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. And yeah, I think from as far as I know, it's the only roundabout, at least in Concord. And yeah, it's definitely good clip fodder for sure.
Oh gosh, I can imagine. Roundabouts are always sketchy as far as other drivers handling them. The only roundabout that I drive through on a regular basis is a roundabout in Fairfield. I don't think it's quite in the city limits, but you know where? Are you familiar with Rockville Road?
I'm not. I only kind of go through Fairfield just because my sister lives around that area. So
Yeah,
I'm never really in it for very long.
yeah. I think it's about a mile and a half west of the Fairfield city limits. And so if you keep going on Rockville Road, it turns into West Texas Street.
Oh, okay, I do know where that is.
Yeah. So, but there's a roundabout on Abernathy and Rockville Road. It's just a one lane roundabout. People do seem to handle that one okay, but Napa is about to get 1, 2, 3, 4 roundabouts. I think they're going to start construction this summer on 4 roundabouts, and 2 of the roundabouts are actually going to be back to back. I'm not even
Oh
kidding
boy.
you. Yeah,
Oh
back to
boy.
back. So double the fun, double the stupidity,
Yeah.
double the dash cam clips, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just funny to me because it's such a simple concept that it's that people just can't figure it out.
Yeah, isn't
You
it
can
something?
only laugh about it.
Yeah. Um,
I had seen a question about if we run 3-minute what was
Loops, yeah. Oh,
loops. Yeah.
I was just reading that question just as you said that. That's funny. Uh, I do. What about you?
I do. Actually, on the thinkware, it only runs 1-minute clips, and I was kind of annoyed by that at first because I like to do either 2 or 3 just because it helps try to capture the entire event.
Yeah.
But I found that it's actually better for memory card integrity to only have 1-minute clips at a time. That way,
Oh.
you're not overwriting and rewriting over and over again as much. And it's
Yeah.
supposed to. They did it that way so it would give you the best integrity on your memory card. Is how I understood it.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I've been running 3-minute loops on mine for forever. It's just how I do it. But and then someone's asking here about driving to South Florida, what happened to your VIAFO? And I actually never had a VIAFO. I never had one. I almost got one, but I saw a lot of complaints about footage that was out of focus. Oh, can I get? I got some more of the fridge. Oh no, it's right here. I forgot where I put the rest of my beer.
No, very important.
Okay, yeah, it is important. And then someone else further down, I'm just kind of like trying to go through the comments methodically here. But
Sure.
someone else said that their Oakley was good, but it interfered with their radio. And it's really funny. The G1W that we've got for a rear camera in one of our cars, it doesn't interfere with the radio. But in the other car, if we're trying to listen to AM talk radio, it does interfere with it.
Yeah,
in
I
one
was
car.
just gonna say that. I think that our ThinkWare is interfering with the AM
Yeah.
in the minivan because I went to switch over to listen to a Giant spring training game and all I heard was just a bunch of interference. So not a problem for me though because I have the MLB apps and
Yeah.
it sounds better there anyway. And that's
Yeah.
literally the only reason I have to listen to AM radio. So
Yeah. It's really funny. I mean, not funny if it actually happened, but I think I've got the problem fixed. But in my car, there was some sort of bulletin. It was a recall that said that any electronics that weren't stock that you put in your vehicle could actually cause the airbags to go off.
oh Jesus.
Yeah, it could actually trigger the explosive mechanism that sets off the airbags.
Wow.
Yeah, and I ran the cameras for like years
Oh good Lord.
before I got the recall notice.
Yikes.
And all they had to do to fix that was to put a filter, it was an EMF filter on the circuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something.
Interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Let's see. Do you have your own chickens, Napa? Yes, we do actually have our own chickens, our own personal chickens that were not part of the chicken farm that I worked on. It was really nice having chickens. A lot of cities now are loosening up on their regulations involving farm animals. I mean, you still obviously can't have horses, goats, and donkeys and cows, in your backyard, but nowadays they allow you to have chickens. And
Okay.
not roosters, but chickens. And so we're lucky in our city that they allow chickens, and we do have a flock of chickens. And we between about February and middle of October, we wake up every morning to a handful of fresh eggs.
Nice.
Yeah. We love animals. My wife and I are absolute animal lovers. And we talk about having property someday and like big property and having all kinds of farm animals, like cattle and it would be kind of cool to have horses, goats and sheep and donkeys and lots and lots of chickens. Oh, I'd love that. That would be my dream. But we probably won't be living in California if we do that because it's way too expensive here. Yeah, we talk about we talk about living up in the Pacific Northwest someday. But
nice.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I just saw there was a question. Dashcam extraordinaire DCE.
Oh, he's in here.
One of my loyal followers at my massive 600 plus.
Yeah.
He's asking if I'm still going through that horrendous intersection with the Legion of Red Light Runners, and that's funny you should ask because I finally just got sick of dealing with that, and I knew it wasn't going to be interesting to include as a clip anymore because I've kind of put it out there too many times. It's just the same old crap every time.
Yeah.
So I actually get off at a different exit now, and I purposely did that just so I wouldn't have to deal with that intersection anymore. So I completely avoid it, and I actually get off a lot earlier, and I just deal with a little bit of surface street traffic. But that area kind of has its own clip fodder as well. So, but none of it as frustrating as that one intersection where I'll end up sitting through 2, maybe 3 light cycles before I can make it through.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it. It's not entertaining, and it just annoys me. So
Yeah.
no more.
I hadn't scrolled down far enough to see that DCE was listening, but hi, what's up, Mang? Great to see that you tuned in.
I had also seen another question a little further up asking what was the very worst driver we've ever seen.
Oh, I missed that one, so I'll let you take that one.
I think that's probably pretty easy as the guy that ran into the car behind me and pushed that car into me. I'd say he's probably the worst because that was to be going that fast in stop and go traffic, which I'm sure he was on his phone or otherwise distracted, but to be that not paying attention that you plow through one car to push him into another car and total it.
Yeah,
That's got to be the worst I've seen for sure. Definitely caused
yeah,
me the most grief.
right. Oh boy, questions are coming in faster than we can answer them.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Uh, trying. um, wow, am I that behind?
I think I've seen the majority of them. I think we're pretty up to date. Uh,
Yeah, it's like making it illegal to collect rainwater. Someone says, "Why even regulate farm animals?"
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Beats me. Dogs or cats? Okay, I'm going to assume that the person asking dogs or cats is asking us whether we like dogs or cats more. So, what's your take?
Oh, I'm dog person through and through
I'm a
for
cat
sure.
person. I
All right.
grew up with cats. We only ever had one dog growing up, so I don't know dogs that well, but we always had cats, and
I
I'm
do have
definitely
cats. I do have both, but
yeah.
yeah, they're I don't know. Maybe it's my particular ones that I have because I have three, and two of them are actually brothers. And we got the first one, and he's cool. Like he's the best cat out of the ones I've had with when my
Yeah,
parents had cats. He's by far the best. He's affectionate, but he doesn't like well, I wouldn't say he's not up our asses all the time, but
right.
he does his own thing, and then when he wants to, he'll chill with you. But the other ones, they're brothers, and it was like we went to just get one more cat, and my wife just didn't want to split up these brothers and fell into that trap. So we've
Wow.
got these two, they're basically twins, and they're just so skittish. Like you just go to just pat them on the head, and they'll take off running. So it's like, why do I even have you guys when all I do is I feed you and I clean your box, and that's
Yeah.
all I ever see of them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's colored my perception of cats lately.
Yeah.
But
So someone's saying, asking, don't chickens cause a rat problem? And yes, because the food is out, and the food that chickens eat is the same stuff that rats like to eat, and we've had a huge problem with rats. I mean, we've been constantly dealing with rats here, and it's been a problem. They've gotten into our cars. They've made giant nests inside our cabin air filter
mm,
areas, and luckily they haven't chewed through any wires yet. But we found rat poop throughout our cars, and it's been a huge problem. But it's
yeah,
I don't think it's just because we have chickens though, but it does make the situation worse. But it we just I don't know, just the whole neighborhood's got it's just overrun. But we've done what we've had to do to stay on top of the problem because otherwise they'll eat the house and chew the wiring in the house and you know short out the electrical circuits, and you can't have
yeah.
that. It's a real there's a real safety hazard with rats.
Oh yeah,
With their droppings and viruses, and you can get really sick.
right.
So we've had to do what we've had to do to try to stay on top of it. But
Uh,
yeah,
s- oh, speaking of electrical connections, someone was asking, do we use the 12-volt power source or do we hardwire our dash cams?
oh no, I don't hardwire them because that can lead to other problems.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
just plug them into the cigarette plug.
Yeah, I do the same. I was thinking of hardwiring into the Honda just because it has the ignition only power source. If the ignition's off, it has no power.
Yeah,
And I wanted to use the parking mode for my ThinkWare, but it just wasn't worth it. It was just too much hassle to go through installing that. And then on my Crown Vic, it has power always running to the 12 volt, no matter
yeah,
what. If the car's on or off. So there's really
yeah,
no point in hardwiring it when it's basically hardwired by being plugged into the 12
exactly.
volt.
Laura says they can swim through and out of your toilet, and I believe it.
That's disgusting.
But what we do is we do take care of our rat problem in the most humane way possible. That's one thing I was very adamant about, is if we're going to do this, it needs to be done humanely. So that's what we do. And since we're animal lovers, we're very much for doing things the most humane way possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. And then someone was asking if there was some. They didn't word it this way, but if there was basically some cataclysm, and we had to move to a different part of the world, where in the world would you move?
That's an interesting question. Where in the world? I'd probably have to say I've always been fascinated by Japan and their whole culture.
Yep.
I know my wife would probably want to maybe go back to Vietnam since she's visited there and that's where her mom is from. But just being that country what it is as far as politically, I don't know if that would be my choice. But yeah, Japan seems like a cool place to end up if I had to go somewhere.
I'm totally with you on that. I've always been fascinated by that country. So I would have to either say for myself, it would either be Japan or it would be the UK, perhaps, or Scotland or Ireland.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, in the north, you've got tons of land. You could have sheep. You can have a farm and all kinds of animals. So.
Yeah, that would be. And Australia too. That would be one of my choices too. My dad's actually visited there. He actually worked there. He was a paramedic in Contra Costa County for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And he just retired 2 years ago, and he actually worked in Australia as a medic. He had a friend that he met over ham radio.
Oh.
which I do have a license and a call sign for. I don't use it as much as I probably should. But
yeah. Bad Drivers of North Central Maryland is asking, how large do your rats get? So since you and I are in the same area, we could both vouch for this one. I've not seen a rat bigger than, if you're not including the length of its tail, I've never seen one as big as a cat, honestly. We have roof rats mostly here. We don't have Norway rats in this part of California. Norway rats are huge, and they don't exist west of the Sierra Nevada mountains here. But our roof rats are smaller. I don't know. If you consider just their bodies, I've seen one maybe as long as 8 to 10 inches. And I know that that's not as big as they get. How about you?
I can't even tell you the last time I saw one. I've seen their.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I've seen what they leave behind and what they do.
Yeah.
Like we have a patio outside, kind of like a covered patio in our backyard, and we kind of used it for storage. And then we went out there and realized they had gotten in and chewed up a bunch of stuff, and wasn't pretty. But yeah, I never actually have seen the perpetrators, but I've just seen their handiwork.
Yeah, they're hard to spot. They're good at avoiding humans, even though they live with us. I mean, that's the thing about rats, is their habitats are the same as our habitat, so they tend to live right alongside us, even if we don't see them. We usually hear them and see the evidence of what they leave behind, but they're there.
Oh yeah.
Bad Drivers in North Central Pennsylvania asks, have you ever caught a good clip, then forgot to unplug your dash cam and the clip was gone? But actually, I am a little confused by that question, because if I forget to unplug it, the clip is still there.
Right. I'm thinking maybe, because I know I've forgotten to maybe grab it off of my card, and maybe I didn't save it, and so it was just out there in the files to be overwritten, and then it's been overwritten. But that's really the only time I've ever lost something, is if I didn't save it into the protected folder and then forgot about it, and then was like, oh yeah, there was that clip, and then I realized that nope, it's been overwritten. So doesn't happen often, but it has happened to me.
I've only ever lost clips when the camera has glitched somehow.
That
Other
too.
than that, I don't lose clips.
I actually had a really good, I guess you could say, good cutoff this past week, and then when I went to pull it everything was all corrupted. So
Yeah.
I just pretty much have to remember just on a more regular basis to clear everything off and reformat more regularly.
There you go. Evo the 8th says, if you want sheep, go to New Zealand. Now, it's funny you say New Zealand because I have seen pictures of it, and it absolutely appeals to me. So add that to the countries that I would possibly move to if needed. Now, I have this obsession with winter and snow. I don't know what
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. I feel like I could live in the snow all the time, year round. So I thought about this. If I could, in my dream world, I would spend 6 months living in British Columbia in the mountains throughout winter, so I could see the snow from, I don't know, April through, or I'm sorry, October through April, and then I would have a vacation house in New Zealand in the southern hemisphere. So when it's summer up here, it's winter down there. New Zealand has big mountains and lots of snow. And I'd spend the other 6 months in New Zealand in another winter snowy paradise. And I would just live perpetually in winter. I'd be perfectly happy as a human being living perpetually in a winter wonderland. I swear to God, as long as I didn't have to dig my car out every day to get out to go anywhere. So it's funny you said New Zealand. And then that car guy one is asking, what is the longest you've honked for? So I'll let you take this one.
Um, Gosh, I can't really remember anywhere I honked for a specific duration. Maybe I honked a lot, like there were more frequency than usual.
Yeah.
Um, I'd say there was one. I think it's my video number 20. There was an older lady that she was one of those last minute bails from not wanting to go to freeway or highway 24 and wanted to stay on
Yeah.
680, and she cut me off. I honked, and then she just sat there flipping me off and getting mad. And I think I laid on it pretty good for her. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
it's more frequency than duration for me, I think.
so I don't know if you guys actually want to know my answer because this is kind of a mind blower. Okay, so let's see. This would have been about 3 years after I first got my license. So we're talking over a decade and a half ago, if I'm doing the math right. So it's been about 15 years, but I'd say my record, and I've never done one that long since, like ever. So this okay. This is crazy. 5 minutes.
Good Lord.
I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
I guess I was in a particularly bad mood, and the lady, the we were at a merge, and we had already gone past the point where the two lanes merged into one, and she just had to get in front of me, and she
Hmm.
almost took off my front bumper in the process, and I just glued it down the entire 5 minutes I was behind her, right up until she turned off into her driveway. I'm surprised she even went to her house with somebody that mad behind her.
I'm surprised your
Seriously.
horn actually lasted that long. I
Well,
did.
it probably overheated.
Oh yeah.
But that was it. I mean, that was the longest ever.
Hmm. Yeah, that definitely beats my record for sure.
Yeah, that was a crazy record. And then North Central Maryland is asking, have you ever visited Maryland, and would you guys ever visit Maryland?
The closest I've been is I've been to Washington D.C., and so I'm sure I crossed into Maryland at some point. Um, and yeah, it was great. We really enjoyed our time there. It was kind of just a sightseeing expedition of the family going to see all the monuments and the White House and all that stuff. But it was just I do remember it was a really nice area.
Yeah.
We were actually leaving a restaurant, the four of us, my family, and there was a guy in a limo out front, and he said, "Hey, do you guys need a ride?" And we're like, "What do you mean?" Like we were just gonna either walk or call a taxi. And he said, "Oh, well, I've got I think it was like a senator or somebody was in that restaurant, and they were going to be in there for a while." And he thought, "Well, hey, I might as well make some money and keep myself occupied." And he asked us where we were staying. We told him,
Yeah.
and he gave us a ride. And my dad tipped him, but he didn't charge us or anything, so
Yeah. Well,
it was pretty cool.
I've never been to Maryland, never been to DC. Would I want to visit? For the historical aspect, yes. Um, you know, the reasons why I would travel somewhere would be this is my criteria for wanting to visit someplace. um, Culture is a big thing, of course, especially when it comes to other countries. I'd want to experience other cultures and other people. But as far as within the United States, my criteria for wanting to visit someplace would be, you know, what kind of scenery there is to see, what historical places there would, be to visit, um, see some history, to do some outdoor activity. I'm a very outdoorsy person, so I'm always looking for like new places to go hiking and nature and all that kind of stuff. So there'd be that, or if I had family somewhere. So those would be the reasons why I would go someplace. And I don't have any family on the East Coast. What? Oh, I don't have any family out there. No, my wife's all, "You have family?" No, 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 no. I had family out, well, southeast, in the southeast, but they're died off by now. Um, so yeah, I think it would be an interesting place to visit. Let's see, what other questions do we have?
We're talking about intro music for our compilations.
Oh, and actually, before we get to that, somebody said, "Confess thy sins. Who farted in your wife's car?" I am never going to tell. You have to leave that up to your imaginations. So go ahead and tell them about your intro music.
So when I first started the channel, I did have an intro video, and I found just going through some free music archives, so I didn't have to worry about copyrights and whatnot. It was a song, and it was actually called "Driving Bad."
Oh, really?
I thought, hey, that's perfect.
That's
So I used that for a while. I actually still use it in my outro. I was using the intro video for a while, and my wife was actually watching the videos, and she was like, "Hey, why do you need this long, like 30-second intro clip to every one of your videos? It kind of takes up a lot of time. You should just jump right into the clips." So I just
yeah.
went ahead and did that. That's why all my later videos, it just jumps right in, and then I've got the music as the outro. So, but yeah, I think someone had mentioned that using something that is copyright free is a good way to go, especially if you're to the point where you're making money off of these videos, which I'm not quite there yet, but
Yeah.
hope to be there someday. But that way you don't get flagged. I've gotten flagged actually sometimes off of just the music playing in my car when I've
Oh
had to
god.
edit some stuff out. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of my freeway stuff, I just set that to music. Because a
Yeah.
lot of the freeway stuff, I listen to music most of the time when I'm on the freeway.
Yeah.
And I keep getting flagged like, hey, that's Brooks and Dunn song. You can't use that. So.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I just want to apologize to anybody in the sidebar chat here who is asking me questions and they're not getting, any. I might not be able to get to everyone's questions. I'm doing my best. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so
trying
I'm
to.
I may be skipping some. So I just want to apologize. Jay Whirl is asking, what is it like driving in San Francisco? He says, I've been there before, but we just took taxis because we didn't know our way around. What has your experience been like driving in San Francisco?
Kind of like we alluded to earlier, it's just kind of you got to really be aggressive. You can't
Yep.
think, oh, well, that guy should let me in, and that's the right of way. It all kind of goes out the window when you're on the streets of a city like that. And you just have to really be aggressive and paying attention because there's
Yeah.
so many one-way streets and lanes that disappear. It's just really hectic. And there's certain areas like I always know right around like the South of Market area. There always seems to be construction of some kind.
Yeah, and I want to add one little thing to that is that it's kind of a give and take situation actually with San Francisco. Like the driving, some of the driving rules go out the window a little bit.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get run off the road, and so what it comes down to is we might normally honk when we get cut off everywhere else,
Hmm.
and my tolerance for getting cut off goes up when I'm in San Francisco. Like I become more tolerant of it because I know it's tougher to get in. And so I'll tend to give people a little bit more of a break when they cut me off in San Francisco as opposed to say, anywhere else.
Right.
Because you do have to be more aggressive. So it's kind of a two-way road. We're more aggressive, so we have to anticipate that other people are going to be more aggressive. And we can't get so mad at them when they're a little bit aggressive in San Francisco. So I tend to be a little bit more aggressive there and not get so upset when someone else is as aggressive as I would be.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so it's like, you watch dashcam videos driving in New York and you see taxis kind of cutting in, and I probably wouldn't honk. If I'm driving in New York City in a taxi, as long as it wasn't egregious to the point where I thought they were going to hit me, I probably wouldn't honk, because it's just kind of the driving culture there, and you kind of have to go along with it. And it's the same in San Francisco. But I'll still honk if somebody does something really, really stupid,
Yeah.
But I actually find it's interesting. I actually find myself honking a lot less in San Francisco than I do here, in Napa Valley.
Yeah. I actually had a comment on one of my last videos where the guy said, like, hey, I'll bet you could get a lot of clips in San Francisco. Why don't you go out there? And first of all, I was like, well, I don't go to San Francisco, all that often. I will be going more now that baseball season's back in swing, but I'm not going to go out there just to get clips. That would be kind of ridiculous, especially if I don't make any money off of this. If I'm spending my time and money to go out there in search of stuff to happen, that would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But then also, like you said, I might have something happen, but you just sort of roll with it. It's not like around here where something happens and it's like, wow, that was unexpected.
Yeah, we roll with it a little more there. It's not that we forgive everything, but
No.
we just roll with it a little bit more because we ourselves are having to be a little more aggressive.
Exactly.
KDG writes, this is further back because I'm a little behind on the chat. Says, I love when you stopped masking your voice and added the jokes, and I have to say that masking our voice was not something that I liked doing. I hated doing it. I really wanted to reveal our true voices, and we finally got to a point where we all kind of voted on it and went, yeah, I think we think we can do this. Let's loosen up a little and let our real voices be shown. And then it all started with one joke that people really thought was funny, and we're like, okay, well, let's roll with this a little bit and start doing more jokes. And it just kind of caught on. And then she says, too bad car cam clip stopped. Actually, she didn't completely stop. She slowed down in her uploads, but she still does upload as far as I know. And so I'm just curious, how long you've been watching my stuff.
I'd say it's at least as long as I've been doing mine, which is going on, what is it, 2 years now I've been doing mine?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely remember the days of the masked voice. So
yeah, you remember those days. Yeah, I didn't like it. I hated that. I absolutely hated doing the masked voice. It was not something I liked doing, but we're a team of Dash. It's not just me, involved with this channel. There's some of us, so we all kind of talk about, collectively decide on some of the big changes that we do. Since we're all involved in it. But and I'm curious, and I'll tell you my answer, but who was the very first dash camera you found that you started watching?
I think it was actually Snowcat was the first person with a camera and filming, his bad drivers and things like that. I think that's the first person I actually, because that would make sense time-wise, because that's when I started, and that was around 2013 when I first thought about getting a motorcycle and found him in my searches of motorcycle related clips. So I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah. What about actual dash cameras though? Like,
I know you were definitely pretty early on in the list, and then
cool.
the other one we were talking about earlier, the one that had shut down her channel, that was kind of in the Santa Rosa area. She was a pretty early on one too.
Yeah, Stephanie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Shadow Lady's saying, and this is the gal from Fairfield. I know I've had a little bit more beer here. on top of having a fever. Probably a bad idea, but who cares, right?
Well, yeah, I'm on the same boat. I've been having a little to drink, and I've heard some people say, "Oh, when you have surgery, you don't want to drink anything that thins
Yeah.
your blood." But
Yeah.
hey, I asked the nurse on my way out, and she said there were no particular restrictions. So
Yeah, and
I'm going for it.
you're generally not supposed to drink when you have a fever like I do. I'm running a temperature, but
Yeah.
I'm finding the beer is actually making me feel better, to be honest with you. But excuse me, Shadow Lady from Fairfield says Lake County drivers are even worse than Napa drivers, and I would have to agree with that. I have seen the craziest Lake County. I used to drive in Lake County more, and they are crazy. I don't know if they're all on meth or what. There is a big meth problem up in Lake County. I don't know if you're familiar with Lake County,
Not too much, no.
but you know where it is. It's just north of Napa County.
Yeah.
So you got like Middletown, Hidden Valley, Clear Lake, and all the towns along the shore of Clear Lake. There's a big meth problem there. Although I have to admit, there's a lot of land up there, and I wouldn't mind owning some land up that way.
Yeah,
But
there's a bit of a meth issue around my hometown too. We actually had a guy who had been on, I think they said it was like a 3-day meth binge, and he was trying to break into my house while
yeah.
just my mom and my sister were home, and he thought somebody was trying to kill him apparently.
Oh wow.
And wanted in our house, but
Yeah.
that's why there's a little tiny town that is north of us called Bethel Island,
Yeah.
and you can guess what we call that place.
Bethel Island.
Yes, sir.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
It has earned that name not just by coincidence.
Yeah. A Bad Driver to South Florida says, "Hey Napa, have you considered doing a remaster of your old videos with the commentary?" That's actually a good idea. I might think about that. I might actually think about that. And Ghost is writing Nepal. It's actually Napa. That's okay. I don't know if you see my message and would like an answer. No, I did miss your earlier messages here, but is he requesting to join the live chat? I may have to catch you either later on or in the next stream, if that's okay with you, because I don't know how long I'll be on tonight, so I may have to catch you later. But I'm going to add your name to the list of people who have requested to be on the stream with me. Don't take it personally if I can't take everybody right away. It's nothing to do with you.
Yeah, it took us a while to get this put together, so
yeah.
schedules lining up and whatnot.
Let's see here. Other side of Mount St. Helena Mountain. Yep, Shadow Lady. Mount St. Helena is a great place to hike too, in case there are any hikers in my area that would be interested in that. It's kind of cool when I was up on Diablo recently, and it's amazing seeing your own home area from a way different angle.
Oh yeah,
almost 4,000 feet up.
Yep.
Seeing Mount St. Helena looming in the distance. You've probably seen that mountain actually in my videos. I don't know if you're familiar with that mountain, but it's the highest peak in Napa County.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it.
Kind of a flat-topped looking mountain. A lot of people think it's a volcano, but it's not. But you see it in my clips a lot when I'm going north. And it's a very popular place to hike. It's another state park. Let's see here. Just going through the questions. I see Dashcam Extraordinaire still listening. That's cool. Thank you for putting up with our shenanigans here. Hi, drivers in North Central Pennsylvania. What time is it in Napa? It is 7:24 p.m. Trying to see if there's any more questions here. Oh, they're going by too fast. I can't keep up. My feverish brain can hardly handle it. I should do a hiking video. Yes, I should. Yes, yeah. There was a... What does my face look like? Oh dear.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Let's just say I've been called ma'am a few times. Hope that answers your question.
And I've been told that I look like a young Russell Crowe. That's all I'm going to say.
Awesome. Favorite color? green and blue. So I'm not going to limit it to just two colors.
What is your
Yeah.
favorite color?
Well, yeah. What's your favorite color?
I'd have to go with blue.
Yeah, that seems to be a common one, actually. Yeah. What's the worst time to drive in your areas? Oh my God. The Napa Valley? Okay, if you're trying to go south from Up Valley, anytime between 3 and 5:30 is the frickin' worst time to get from St. Helena in Calistoga to Napa. So I don't even bother with that. That's yeah. Now, what about you?
I'd say anywhere between 4 and 7. That's usually, and it sucks is that's when I leave work, is right in that area.
That area.
But yeah, that's always the worst.
Ooh, here's a question I cannot pass up. Ghost writes, "Have you ever soiled yourself while you drive?"
I can safely say I have not.
And I can safely say that I have not either, but I have soiled myself when I was really sick with some like diarrhea flu. Not
Yikes.
to be too graphic there, but yeah, I have soiled myself when I was like super duper sick. Question for everyone, DCE. What do you think the oldest camera is from the States? Ah, well, there was this one camera in Florida that I followed that I think was the very first. I don't remember that person's name, but I found their videos to be very boring. They uploaded these videos without any sound, strictly of people running stop sign red lights in Florida somewhere, and they didn't pick the correct aspect ratio in their videos when they rendered. So they were like these vertically squished videos of people running red lights,
Oh, geez.
and um, yeah, so that was the first, but I don't remember who they were. The second one, I believe, was Bad Drivers of ABQ, not Nick, Bad Drivers of Albuquerque, but the other Albuquerque. Our Extinction, I think is his channel name.
Okay.
That one up, but just search Bad Drivers of ABQ. He's the first one I started watching, aside from that Florida guy. And then I came across Bad Drivers of Portland. Do you know Bad Drivers of Portland?
That sounds familiar because now that I think of it, there was another dash camera that I did watch early on, and he was in Portland, and I know his actual channel name was something different. It was something like KY. My memory's
Oh, Kyogre.
There we go. Yeah.
6444.
Yeah, something just really hard to remember like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I was probably like the, I don't know, 7th or 8th one, I think.
Oh,
And then
okay.
at some point, Bad Driver. Oh, somebody way early on asked, "Whatever happened to Bad Drivers of Southern California?" You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like 18,000 subscribers. Yeah, he's got a shit ton. He was also featured on the news in LA.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there was a stupid rumor going around that he died and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'd heard about that.
Now, we all know that didn't happen because he posted a video, I don't know, a couple months ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, people are talking about the GameStop video in the chat here. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think someone was asking it not to be talked about.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah. Oh yeah, Bad Drivers of Portland is still uploading. Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. Kyogre. Yep. They're all adding their 2 cents here. Yep. Kyogre 64444. Three fours.
Yes.
There are 3
Yeah.
fours in there.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the first that I started watching as well.
And what about Halo Mastermind? Did you ever?
It's not ringing any bells, no.
Okay. So he was the one with the most amount of subscribers in the United States that I ever knew about. It was Halo Mastermind 117, and his series was Bad Drivers of South Carolina. and he was also featured on the news, and I think because of that, his subscriber count really shot up to like 25,000. So that appears to be the trick to getting like a ridiculous subscriber count is end up on the news.
I'm afraid of what you have to do in order to end up on the news, though.
Well, I was featured on the news.
Oh, okay.
This wasn't good because they didn't exactly paint dash cameras in the best light.
Oh,
I thought it was a really skewed story, honestly. I thought it was
Mm.
very biased. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like what they did. They just made us all out to be, I don't know. but anyway. Yeah. But they found me. I didn't go to them.
Oh, okay.
And then they mentioned me in a national news story briefly. I think it was, I don't know, ABC News, like some morning segment on a national network. They mentioned bad drivers in Napa Valley and whatever. But it was just a very brief thing, like 5 seconds. And they showed one clip of some guy that I filmed running a red light. Jason at GSTP writes, what is the worst driving incident you witnessed and either didn't have a dash cam, forgot to record, or accidentally deleted it? And I think we kind of answered that, but I'll let you.
Yeah, there's nothing that actually jumps out at me. Of pretty much all of the major stuff I've been able to capture. It's mostly just been, cutoffs that were pretty bad. I think I had someone that they cut me off and I honked and they reacted by just like stopping right in the middle of the freeway.
Yeah.
And throwing a big tantrum. And then it was another one of those where the file was corrupted and I didn't have it, but it was not really anything I felt like posting because it was just so stupid. It was like, it's just going to be me sitting behind them for a few seconds. Like, so they're like, okay, I guess I live here now, and going around them and then going about my day. So it was ridiculous at the time, but I wasn't too broken up about not having it. So.
Right. So somebody asked, have you ever had somebody angrily come up to your car? Like get out of their car and walk up to yours?
I have, and this was long before I was recording. This was, I think, 2009.
Yeah.
I was in a parking lot and was going down. It was a one-way parking lot aisle. It's got all the spots are angled one certain way, and there's arrows, and it's pretty clear that you're only supposed to go one way. It's narrow to only one car can fit. And I'm going down, and I'm coming up to a right turn, and this car comes from the opposite direction, making a left turn, and he's coming down the wrong way.
Wow.
And I kind of had to veer over a little bit because he's coming down way past normal parking lot speeds. And he goes by me, and I didn't flip him off. I didn't freak out. I just kind of mouthed to him, "You're going the wrong way." That was it. Nothing more than that. And it was actually my wife and I, when we were first dating, we were at a store in a parking lot or a shopping center, and we wanted to go to another store and pick up some groceries. So we were moving closer so we didn't have to walk all the way from the grocery store with all of our groceries. So we were going to park again inside the same parking lot. So I don't know if this guy thought that I was parking again to choose him on or what was going on in his head. But we, went maybe the 500 yards or whatever it was distance to where the store was, found another parking spot and parked. And all of a sudden this guy whips around the other direction, parks in front of us, and gets out of his car and starts walking up to my car, screaming obscenities and choosing me onto a fight. And my wife was about to get out of the car, and I told her, no, we're going to stay in the car. She was just getting out to go into the store while he starts coming up to us. And, I lock the doors, and he just starts going off like, what? You want to go? You want to fight?
Wow.
And he was probably like, I think I found out he was like 17. And I think I was maybe early 20s at this point. So I wasn't too much older than him.
Yeah.
And he's just going nuts. And I'm like, dude, go away, get back in your car. What is wrong with you? And just trying to de-escalate it. And he's just losing his mind. He's just beside himself, seeing red. He ends up punching my window.
Oh my God.
Didn't break it. I'm pretty sure he hurt his hand. I hope
Good.
he did. I hope he did, actually.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, all right, this just turned into something more than this guy yelling at me. He just punched my car. And so I got on the phone with PD and told him what had happened, because I said, something's got to be done. You're going off the deep end that far that you're punching my vehicle. Oh, and he punched my car, and then he said, "I will kill you." Those were his exact words. So I'm like, all right, he's punching my car and he just threatened my life. So I think the police should be involved at that point. So I
Yeah.
called him, and what cracked me up is, so he drives off, and I follow him at least close enough to where I can make sure I relay his license plate. Well, I didn't have to follow very far, because he just parked again where he was headed, which was the pizza place right there in that shopping center where he worked.
Yeah.
And so he gets out of his car and goes into the pizza place. So we sit out there and wait for the police to pull up. And they get there, and right as the cop is pulling up, the guy starts walking out. And I don't know if he's going to try to take off, but I point out to the cop and said, "Hey, that's the guy." And he pulls him over, and the guy totally changes his whole demeanor. He is now just totally demure, and "Oh, well, what's the problem, officer?" And I'm like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me here." And he just totally changed his whole demeanor. The cop asks for our stories, and he totally lies about everything. Like, "Oh, I didn't punch your window. Is it, it's not broken. I don't see how you're saying that I broke your or punched your window." And "Oh, well, I'm just a 17-year-old kid, and you're a grown man. I don't really know what you're talking about." And we're just standing there like, "You got to be kidding me." And the cop totally sided with him too. That's
Yeah.
what really ticked me off, was he's like, "Well, the your window's not broken. I don't see any damage to your car. And if someone is making a mistake, you don't need to call them on it. You could just let things go, sir."
Yeah.
He like totally turned it on me, and I'm just like, "Wow, really?" And the guy just played it off like it was nothing. And the cop blamed me, because I was
Mhm.
of maybe 4 years older than this guy at that point, but I was
Yeah.
the older person. And there weren't any witnesses or anything like that, which there were a lot of people in that parking lot. I kind of had hoped someone was going to come over and say, "Hey, yeah, I saw this guy throwing this huge tantrum." But yeah. And then, so that's the first time I ever had anybody actually approach my vehicle. And then the second time is the one you can actually see on my channel, is the guy that cut us off, and I honked, and then we were sitting behind him at a red light, and he gets out, and I don't even remember what he was saying. He was choosing me on. He wanted me to get out and fight him. Here I've got my whole family in the car, and he wants me to get out and fight. And I just kept telling him, "Get back in your truck. Just get back in your truck, dude." And then I think he called me a pussy, and then got back in his truck.
Oh man.
And all because I honked at him. And that one actually got me a lot of flack, because some people were saying that I shouldn't have honked at him. It wasn't that close. It wasn't worth, basically saying that I was at fault for, I caused it all by honking at him.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that prompted me to create that distance graphic, just because dash cameras as a whole, we're always being told, "Oh, that wasn't that close. That was, you had plenty of room, or they had plenty of room." And people just, they don't realize the effect that the wide angle lens has on the footage, and how close it really is, and how close it is to our actual eyes versus what you're seeing in the video. So that both of those, that one clip in particular is what kind of prompted me to do that distance graphic, especially all the people, when I get cut off there on that one spot on 680, that tell me, "Oh, you should have let him in." It's like,
Yeah.
I don't really have a choice. I can't let someone in. Um, but that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you. Somebody's asking here. Let me go up a little bit. What is it? Bed driver in South Florida. She's got lots of good questions. What's your worst road rage situation? Um, Actually, this kind of couples in with. Well, okay, I'll just tell two stories then, because this kind of goes along with the other question about has someone gotten out of the car. I've had two situations where somebody got out of their car, and one of them was before I was dash camming, and it was, oh, I felt the guy was turning a little bit too slow, and I just gave a little beep of the horn. Nothing major. And he had his family with him. It was like they were having like a Halloween parade or something. So, and his daughter in the back seat was all dressed up, and he had his wife, his trophy wife. You know, he slams on the brakes in his Camry right after I did the brake checked me basically, and he started yelling out his window like, "Do that again, motherfucker! Do that again! Honk at me again!" I mean, he just completely lost it.
Wow.
Over one little beep. This was in downtown Napa, right? And he's just going off. And it's like, okay, well, you asked me to honk at you again, so I gave him a blast of horn. And of course, he pissed him off more, and then he started driving off, but real slow, like under the speed limit to try to piss me off, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we come up to a traffic light, and he jumps out of his car and then gets back in. And then we go through the light, and then we come up to where they were going to be going to lunch. There's a burger place called Taylor's Refresher. I don't know. It was called Gott's Burger at the time or whatever. I don't know. It seems like they change their name all the time. Yeah. And he parks, and I'm a little bit behind him, and he gets out of his car and walks up to my window, and I said, "What is your problem?" And he says, "You're on my ass," or whatever. I don't remember what he said. And then he started telegraphing a move that he was gonna punch me or something.
Oh, jeez.
In martial arts, we call it telegraphing. When someone kind of takes a fighting posture and they act like they're going to strike.
I actually have a background in martial arts, so
cool.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you know what telegraphing is, yeah. So he telegraphed a move, and I floored it. And he like starts chasing after me on foot. This isn't the same. Yeah, this isn't quite the same guy who chased after me on foot, the pedestrian that was jaywalking. But anyway, chases after me on foot, and his sandal flies off his shoe as he's running after me. You can see it in the video, just flying off. It was, but anyway, that was that. And then another video I haven't released yet from like 4 years ago. I've been sitting on it for a long time. And eventually I'll release it, but he gets out of his SUV. He doesn't walk up to me that he gets out. He basically cuts me off at that one intersection that is famous in my videos for people cutting me off.
Yeah.
And he it was interesting. So that was that. No, but the actual worst incident though, I mean, it was worse for the guy who was raging against us because he actually crashed while he was raging against us.
I love that.
Now this was back in my college days, way before cameras were even thought of to have in the car. And this is interesting because my wife was driving and he was tailgating us. And my wife, she didn't exactly brake check him, but she tapped the brakes enough to light up the brake lights, as a way to say back off. And he didn't like that, I guess, and so he started following us. And every turn we made, he made. Every lane change we made, he made. And he was totally following us. And we were on our way to a local bar. We're going to go have some drinks.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets interesting. So he's following us. He's very clearly following us. And we made this one turn at a street light where you have to yield. On your left turn, you have to yield to oncoming traffic when you have a green light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a protected left turn. And we had just enough time to make our left turn before the oncoming car got closer to us. Well, he was so focused with his tunnel vision on chasing us down that he made that same left turn right behind us without yielding to the driver that was oncoming. And he got T-boned while he was chasing us. Smash!
Instant karma.
He just got smashed into, and we didn't stop. We kept going. And so there could be an argument to be made about, because in California you are legally um, required to stop if you are a party to an accident, and we technically were a party to it.
Yeah, that could probably
But
be open to debate.
the defense to that could be, we don't know if this guy had a gun, what he was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So we fled the scene, and when we got to the bar, we called the police to report the incident. So that
Okay.
there could have taken out the hit and run.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
even
kind
though it
of
wasn't a physical hit and run, it still falls under the hit and run laws.
right. You're still doing your due diligence
Still
and
doing our due diligence. We called it in and told him about what happened, that we were being chased and he crashed. We didn't feel safe stopping. We just kept going. And they asked for our information, and I don't know why we neglected to do this, but we told them we'd rather be anonymous. We didn't want to give our information, and they let us give a statement over the phone without our having to tell them our names or anything.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
but so it gets interesting. The next morning, because this is way back when I was in college. So the next morning, I go to class, and I parked next to a Subaru, a white Subaru. It looked like the same one that had been following us the night before, and it was smashed on the same side, on the
Uh,
passenger side. And I thought, that's the same guy that was following us last night. I recognized
coincidence? I think not.
everything about the car was the same about the car that had been following us, because I paid attention to everything about the car
Mm-hmm.
from the night before. I'm like, that's the same guy. And I saw who got out of the car, and it turns out that that guy was in one of my classes in college.
Oh, geez.
But I didn't say anything to him.
Oh, you should have been like, oh man, I just had a friend get in a car accident. You ever been in one yourself?
Yeah, exactly. I have
You
to take
ever road rage on someone before?
yeah, specifically last night at
Yeah.
around 10 o'clock. Yeah, I got to take a quick break. All that beer I've been drinking has been passing through me, and I have to take a bathroom break.
All right.
So I will let you talk to the crowd while I'm gone,
All right.
but I'll be back in about a minute.
All right. I will take the con.
Yeah, hold down the fort. All right.
All right. So just going through some of these questions here. Yeah, talking about brake checking, I've never really thought that was, uh, especially with every move I make being on camera, not really a, a great move to make brake checking somebody. Nice thing about my car is I can just give the brakes a slight little tap, not even apply any actual braking, but the lights still light up. So if I do have somebody riding me too closely, I can at least give them the lights without actually slowing down. So yeah, any other questions? I'll see what I can field on my lonesome. Here we got bad drivers caught on dash cam here. He's dealing with a cold. I just had a medical procedure done yesterday, and I'm on bed rest from that. So we're both pretty tore up, but hope we're still providing some entertainment for you guys. Let's see any other questions we've got here. Yeah, Shadow Lady, you're right. All these people think that they can just bully their way in, and if they've got a turn signal on, that must mean that they have the right of way to push in. But yeah, a lot of the times it might look like, oh, you should have just let that person in, but in reality, you're watching it from a third person perspective. You gotta figure that it's all happening in the moment is a little bit different. Bay Area housing, it's damn expensive. I'll tell you, my current housing situation is not what I would like it to be, and it's completely due to the ridiculous prices out here. So, LA versus Bay Area drivers. I was in LA late last year, and I wasn't there very long, but I was telling everybody earlier that I was actually surprised that I didn't have as many clips. I think I had one guy. He I was going straight through a non-protected green, and he ran right in front of me, pulled a left turn right in front of me at the green. That was as bad as it really got. And again, I wasn't there for very long, but yeah, everybody seemed to just be in a huge hurry, but nobody seemed to be making egregious mistakes.
Mm,
Um,
I'm back.
Dumbest thing that's happened that made you speechless. I actually have a story for that, and it's actually going to be in maybe not my next video, which I know I'm overdue for my next video. I usually try to get one every 2 weeks, but with everything going on lately and my procedure I had done, haven't had the time to put it up. But I was actually just at Costco, which if anyone's ever been at Costco knows that either the parking lot will get you or the people inside will get you. But it's something that's bound to stress you out 'cause people don't know what they're doing in either place. But I'm coming out of Costco. I load my car up with everything I bought, and I'm in the car. It's running. It's in reverse, and I look behind me, and I'm about to back out, and this SUV pulls into the spot next to me, or they're about to pull into the spot next to me. And just as a courtesy, I wasn't going to start backing out while this other car is trying to pull in. So I was just going to pause for a second, let them pull in. Well, they never actually pulled all the way in. They just stop about with their nose right at the beginning of the parking spot. And now I'm wondering, what are they doing? Like, I don't want to back out now. I don't know what's going on. Why is this car just stopped? And then I see the passenger door open and a man gets out, and he opens the passenger side rear door of the SUV. And now they are completely blocking my entire path in order to back out. And it's just one of those things where I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, I'm just going to stay put because there's just too many variables. I don't want to just cause anybody any stress by trying to back out while they're doing what they're doing. And I'm watching them, and it turns out that there's actually a puddle next to me, and I had stepped over it getting into my van because I was wearing shoes. And I look at the guy that's um, getting a kid out of the car actually, and he's wearing like shorts and flip flops and a tank top, and it had just been raining like 20 minutes earlier, and he's wearing that. So apparently he didn't want to dip his little footsies in the puddle. So his wife, who I'm assuming his wife was driving, she pulled into the beginning of the spot and then stopped so he could get out so they could avoid the puddle. All right, whatever. That's kind of inconveniencing me for a couple seconds, but not a big deal. Well, it gets worse because now they're both the guy and the girl are out of the car, and now he decides he's going to take the girl, hold her by the hand, and stand directly behind me. And again, I'm sitting there with the car running in reverse. I know my reverse lights work. I actually just was behind my wife while she was backing it up. So I know for a fact that they work. And I've actually reviewed the video, and you can see him looking at the lights. So I know that they work. And so he just stands there with the must have been like a 4 or 5 year old girl, and just standing there. And I'm just wondering, what are you doing? And they're just back there while the wife or the woman parks the car, just standing behind my car. Where if I hadn't been paying attention, I could have easily just said, "Okay, that car pulled into its spot. Let's go for it. I'll just back up and go about my business." And he just stood there, and so I kind of beat the horn a little bit because again, I wasn't feeling like engaging the guy. I don't want to get out because I have found that engaging people like that is never a good idea. And so I kind of beat my horn a little bit, and he still didn't move. And then finally, the woman got out of the car and joined him behind me, and they finally got out of the way. And I kind of looked back and gave him like my hands up in the air, like, what the hell, man? And he gave me this look back, like what? Like he put his hands up, like what? What are you mad about? Kind of thing. And I just couldn't believe, like, it wasn't even so much that I was inconvenienced for having to sit there and wait for them to not be standing behind my car,
Hmm.
but it was the fact that he would stand behind a car that was running and in reverse with his child. Like,
Yeah.
as a father, that just seems so. And looking at the video, you can clearly tell he knew what was going on because actually, when I beeped the horn, you could see his mouth like mimic it. Like he makes this little me 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 with his mouth, like he doesn't care about the fact that I'm in reverse trying to back out, and he's just going to stand there. So that
Wow.
one, I was just like, the whole rest of my drive home, I'm like, just flabbergasted. I'm like, did that guy really just do that? Like, I'm assuming that was his child, but even if it wasn't, it's like, you're obviously responsible for this small person. You should, I don't know, protect them from getting run over by a minivan that's trying to back out. It was just unbelievable, especially since I had been walking to my car and saw a car was trying to back out, and I made sure I, really quickly got out of their path. And for someone to just stand behind a car was just ridiculous. So I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to post that video since it does have a child in it. I'm figuring I'll probably just blur out her face. I don't know what the policy is on that, but I knew for a fact it wouldn't be good to just be showing a minor in a video like that. So
I don't know. I've got minors in the background of my videos all the time, so you're fine. I mean, legally, why? Yeah, in terms of the law, you're fine.
oh, okay, I don't
Yeah.
know if actually visually seeing them.
No.
So you can always hear my kids in the background, but I never actually show them.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can see in a public area, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's public, so I wouldn't worry about it. You can show their face.
Because I also have another one where a kid in a car behind me that was giving me trouble was not wearing a seatbelt. A
Ah,
woman was uh, trying to get out of the way of a fire truck, and so she almost actually clipped me. She got really close to me, and she was like honking at me to move out of her way, but I had nowhere to go because it was
yeah.
gridlock traffic from the accident that the fire truck was responding to. And then when I look at the video later, I could see that the kid in the front seat of her car had no seatbelt on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it seems like it reminded me of a video that Halo Mastermind posted. Oh, of an unrestrained kid who was jumping around in the back seat on the freeway.
Oh
Like the
God, I
parents
have
just
seen
didn't
that.
care. The parents
Yeah,
just didn't care, and they're just letting their kid jump around in the back. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, and
so we have a
I,
question.
I kind of came into this back into this conversation from the
Hmm.
potty break. When we're talking about LA drivers versus Bay Area drivers, and I have to say,
Yeah,
I've driven down in LA and hardly saw any bad driving down there compared to up here.
yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, it
I was
really.
totally expecting. That's why I brought my dash cam. I'm like, okay, I'm in
Yeah,
a rental, but I'm gonna put my dash cam in it because who knows what's gonna happen down in LA.
just seems like we have worse drivers up here in the Bay
Agreed.
Area. Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
seen DCE had a question. What
oh,
best advice for new cammers joining the community?
oh boy. You know, there's a couple of things working against new cammers. One of them is the dash cam genre is a really hard one to be successful in. It's really hard.
Mm, yeah,
It's almost luck if you want to become big. You
yeah,
have to be featured by the right people. Like the news, I think was a big catalyst for like Halo and Bad Drivers of Southern California. Yes, they got great content, and that's um, one of the other number ones is you have to have excellent content. So that's a huge part of it, of course,
yeah,
is having top notch content and sticking out from your competitors. That's a big one. But the other part of it is luck, and that is being featured by a news channel. Um, and the problem now, and this kind of holds true for any genre on YouTube, like vloggers really have a hard time because there are so many other vloggers. It's like vloggers have become a dime a dozen. So you got, makeup tutorials and other, I don't know. I'm just thinking random subjects here that vloggers vlog about. They vlog about, makeup. They vlog about their daily lives. You've got people like Logan Paul and some other hated YouTubers, but there's just so many of them now that it is hard to make a name for yourself nowadays. And even in the dashcam community, we started out when I started out, there were only like a handful of us, and it was much easier to, you know, to gain a huge following quickly.
right.
Nowadays, there's I don't know. DCE came up with with an estimate for how many dash cameras he thinks there are now, and it's like in the thousands. There's so many. It's like the number of people selling jewelry on Etsy and eBay. There's
Right.
so many of them that it's hard. You really have to
Yeah.
stick out. So I'd say that's my advice is stick out however you can.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that myself. It's like you said, you can have as good a content as you want, but you just kind of have to get that right connection. 'Cause here I am 2 years into it, and I've got, not that I don't appreciate my followers, but it's like I'm at like
Sure.
640 or 650 or something, and it's like, and I think I joined and started this right before YouTube moved the goalpost, the goalpost
Yeah.
about where you had to be to start making money. And I was like, oh, okay. Here I thought I was closing in, and then they moved it to, I think it's what now, 1,000 subscribers, and I can't recall what the actual number of views is, but yeah, they definitely kind of threw me off there when they did that.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm just, it's strictly a hobby at this point, which I'm totally fine with. But
Yeah.
it wouldn't be totally horrible to be making a little money off of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, advice for a new camera, yeah, like you said, just make sure you stand out, and
Yeah.
just realize that you're gonna have, no matter how legitimate you think your clips are, you're always gonna have people, especially once you start getting more followers.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get the haters, you're gonna get the people that say, "Oh, you caused that, you didn't need to make a big deal out of that." You're gonna have all of those, and you can't really engage them. I've fallen into the trap of engaging people in the comments, and it's not worth it. You're not going to change their minds when they're
Yeah.
already being ridiculous in their comments in the first place. So
Yeah, there are a number of people on YouTube talking about how to make it big on YouTube, and
hmm
one of them is Tim Schmoyer. He's a big one. He's gives a lot of tutorials about common mistakes that YouTubers make and blah blah blah. So his videos are really good. I've watched some of his. So yeah, Tim Schmoyer. Uh,
yeah, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours total watched. I'm not even sure where I am in hours
Ca-
total watched, but
yeah,
I'm more than halfway to 1,000. So there
there
is
you
that.
go. Callie Dashcams asking, "Do I feeling tired, Napa?" Yes, absolutely. I am run when you're sick.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have a really bad cold or a mild flu. It could be either a really bad cold or it could be influenza type B,
right. And
which is milder than the other flus.
we are coming up on that 2 hour mark, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm a little out of it too myself. So
I might keep going a little longer, but yeah, I'm feverish. My wife and I even have a hiking date tomorrow.
oh
And I'm kind of dead set to keep forging ahead on that one because
yeah,
I really don't like passing up a good hike. And even if I'm sick, I've hiked when I'm sick before, and I just power through it and do what I do. Even if I got a fever, I'm like, I'm not letting anything keep me down, not letting any effing bugs keep me from, you know, hitting the trails.
yeah. Mind over matter,
That's what it is. Mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
right?
Yeah. Oh, someone's asking how I come up with nicknames. Well, brainstorming, really, and suggestions. I have viewers that suggest nicknames, and boy, they come up with some damn good ones too. I have to say, yeah, yeah. Best not to overpush, says Chris.
Yeah,
Well, you know, right. I'm willing to compromise a little bit. I'm not gonna. I try not to pass up a hike unless I am bedridden, but I may scale back the hike a little bit and maybe not hike as much as I had planned on hiking. But I just, I don't know. Life is just so short, I just feel like I got to get out there and enjoy nature and enjoy the green grass out there and do a little photography and have fun.
yeah. Especially if it decides to stop raining.
Chris, the other Chris Ford says it's not affecting your awesome voice. Sound the same. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it. I was coughing my lungs out last night, and I woke up and my voice was like, kind of like I smoked for 50 years, and I'm not ashamed of it. And then I'm like, oh, am I gonna have to do some voice exercises like the singers do
Right.
before they sing? Am I gonna have to do some scales? I don't know. What are some scales? Do re mi fa sol what? Oh, I don't know. And then I don't know. Somehow I just started talking more today, and it's like my voice just kind of got back into the groove of being used, and here we are, right?
Good timing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Or it's the other one. Ayo. Ayo. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just don't pull a Freddie Mercury with the vocal exercises. Oh. I'll try not to. You can safely take 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. And I have, but I have to say something about vitamin C. I've always taken vitamin C whenever I felt myself getting sick or when I have gotten sick and I want to shorten the length of my illness. There are a lot of studies on vitamin C, and it turns out that if you're not deficient in vitamin C, extra vitamin C won't help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually personally found that to be true. That if I'm already up on my vitamin C and I take more of it, it doesn't actually seem to do anything. And
Yeah, I think you can only absorb so much.
You can only absorb so much. You end up peeing out pretty much whatever your body can't use, which is a very low milligram amount compared to the mega doses that we sometimes are told to do. And I was a big believer on that. But I just found that it didn't work. And then I started reading these studies, and I'm like, okay, it unfortunately doesn't work. Now, echinacea, on the other hand, I have taken echinacea when I have felt a flu coming on. You get flus come on really fast. You get the body aches and the fever, and you feel nauseous, and it just hits you fast. And I've stocked up on the echinacea, and I've reversed a flu in its tracks with echinacea, which is amazing. I don't know if there's some placebo going on there or if it's some mind over matter trick. I'd like to see some studies on that. Shadow Lady says when you're sick, you could be short on it. Thing is, though, I do eat and drink a lot of things with vitamin C in it already. A lot. Like I'm big on orange juice and eating oranges. So I'm probably not short on that. But I did go pretty much a whole winter without getting sick when everyone else around me was getting sick. And colds are really hard to avoid. You could have the best immune system and you're still going to get a cold.
Yeah,
unlike flus. Yeah, oh my gosh. I'm sure you've had it all.
Yeah.
Colds, flus, the stomach flu.
Just talking about getting sick a lot.
Isn't the stomach flu so much fun? Yeah. I can't even imagine having the stomach flu and puking like every few minutes.
Yeah, there was something, what was it, a couple of years ago, that norovirus that was going around.
Mm-hmm.
And we picked that up, and yeah, that was not pretty.
Did you get it too?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, God. So it's like 48 hours is just violent stuff?
There's varying degrees, but
yeah. It's like downing a bottle of Epicac syrup. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But here's something about norovirus that I should say. This is really interesting. I've never had norovirus. I have thrown up, but not from norovirus. And this is something that not many people know about. But if you have a certain blood type, you are pretty much immune from norovirus. And I can't remember. I think it's like the B blood type and the A negative, or I don't know. You'd have to look it up. But there is a certain blood type that affords you immunity from norovirus, where you will either not get the stomach flu at all, or you'll only get a very mild version of it. And I must be that blood type because I've never gotten it. I've only had like rotavirus type infections where I've had gastrointestinal stuff going on. Is there something I can do to avoid the halos on lights at night? Oh, Shadow Lady. It may not just be your windshield. It could also be the lens of your camera. You might check the lens of your camera to make sure that you don't have any grease, haze, or anything on your lens. A lot of people think, oh, my windshield's a problem, but a lot of people forget that the lens of the camera could be the problem too. But it also has to do with the optics of your camera. Some optics would create a halo on lights, no matter what you do. Chris, yes, you're absolutely right. It's B and AB. That's right. Blood type. Oh, right. And the inner surface of your windshield, too. Look at that as well. Yep. So your lens and your inner surface of your windshield are things to look at. When you clean your lens, be very careful. Don't use anything. Use a microfiber cloth. Oh, yeah. Oh, positive. Yeah, you will get nailed with norovirus. Yeah. So, yeah. So yeah, Shadow Lady, as I was saying, lives in the same general area that I do. We're not far from each other. We only live a half hour away. So earlier, I made the mistake of saying that Bad Drivers of the Bay Area was the only closest dash camera to me, and it turns out that Shadow Lady is too. So, yeah. So it's cool to see other dash cameras in my area. And I know about that Travis Boulevard. That's crazy. Down by the Solano Mall. Woo! That is a hot spot for stupidity on the road. Yep. So what do you think of that? Bad Drivers of the Bay Area? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I know my sister's in Suisun City, so I've been down there a time or two. So.
Yeah, it's crazy down there, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually lived there for a brief time in Suisun City. Yep. Used to commute down Highway 12 all the time. I sure wish I had a dash cam then.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would have been epic. So you said you grew up in the area.
Yeah, the little town of Oakley.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you? I don't know if this is too personal, but can you say about what age you are?
Early 30s.
Okay. Okay, you're a little younger than me, but I'm not terribly older than you. But let's see. Since you'll be moving to Washington State. Well, I don't know if we'll be moving to Washington State soon. This could be years or even a decade or more into the future. Looked up on tips for driving in the snow. I have actually, and I have driven through snow. It's really about being smart about it. You know, having the right tires, chains, whatever is necessary for the type of snow and weather that you have where you live. Because yes, believe it or not, there are different kinds of snow. You know, if it's just snowed and it's a light powdery stuff, you can drive right on through it without any chains or snow tires. But once it is melted and refrozen, you're dealing with a whole different animal. And it can be quite dangerous. So there's a lot to driving in snow, a lot of things to know about it. Hello, Nancy. Glad you're joining us. Yep. I think Shadow Lady's been with us the longest. I think.
I don't think I've ever actually driven in the snow. That's not something I've ever had to do.
Yeah. It's a whole different experience. It's really does employ a whole different skill set. Because you have to first of all know what kind of snow you're driving in, whether it's what texture it is. Like I was saying, if it's soft and powdery, it's not too much of a problem. But once it's compacted, it becomes a different story. And if it's melted and refrozen, you're gonna need some snow tires, chains, or something. And if you're driving uphill in the snow or downhill in the snow, ooh, yeah, yep. Can be scary stuff. Black ice is scary. I've driven on it. I've hit a patch of black ice before, and you don't see it coming. It blends right in with the color of the pavement. Yep. Have you ever stopped for a train in Napa Valley? Yes, I have actually. We have a train here called the Napa Valley Wine Train. Have you heard of it, bad drivers?
I have.
Yep. It's a tourist thing. So you come here to the Napa Valley to get wined and dined on a train that goes up and down the valley. And there is one point, actually 2 points within the valley where it crosses the highway. So I've done the Napa Wine Train once in my life. And it's a historic train too. That's pretty cool. And it's haunted. That's the other thing about it. A lot of people have seen apparitions on it. The Columbia Gorge. Yes, you live in a beautiful part of the country, Chris. Absolute beautiful part of the country. Well, not that this isn't a beautiful part of the country here. It's just a different kind of beauty. Just a different kind of beauty. Yeah. Any other questions for us? And yet you want to move to LA, but I thought you said you hate California drivers. Oh, you're gonna hate it down there if you hate California drivers. Oh, your family's there. Okay. Well, that's all right.
That's a pretty good reason.
But well, to be honest though, Chris, I've had a good experience driving there, so you might not hate it as much as some SoCal people might have you believe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other questions I have for you. So born and raised in Oakley.
Yes.
Yep. And so do you work in the same town that you live, or do you have how long is your commute?
I'm only about 15 miles away, but judging by when I leave, both to go and to head home, it's about an hour.
Okay.
With traffic. So it should only be about 20 minutes. But
yeah.
With traffic, it's usually about an hour.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, Chris Ford asked, how long have you YouTubed and why did you get started? Well, let's see, I started in 2011 and I got started because, well, for a lot of the same reasons others have, to save my butt in a crash. People lying, and trying to say, hey, no, he did it. He started it. It's his fault. But also because other people were dash camming. like bad drivers of Portland, bad drivers of Albuquerque. So, yeah. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, for me, it was about 2013. Started when I was riding my motorcycle, and then just sort of transitioned into, once I stopped riding the motorcycle, to driving the car. And it was just basically the same reason you were doing it to begin with, was just
Yeah.
to protect yourself. And then you've got all these clips of people doing stupid things. You might as well do something with it. And
That's right. That's right.
always somewhat cathartic to kind of make a positive out of a negative. So.
Yeah, totally. Kelly Dashcam's asking, do you like GM vehicles? And from my own experience, I do not. I've had nothing but bad luck. Every GM I've ever owned was a lemon.
Yeah.
So no, I don't like GM vehicles. What about you?
I used to be a total Chevy guy, starting with my Monte Carlo that I kind of lucked into buying from a family member. Love that car, but it did end up giving me some transmission issues. And to avoid it totally just going out on me, I traded it in and bought a brand new Silverado in '07, which was great for a while. It was just, an awesome truck, and just really liked the power and everything about having a V8. And then that was right around when gas went up to $5 a gallon, and the company I was working for at the time went out of business. Lost my job, and it was just, a bad time to be driving a big giant V8 pickup truck. So
Yeah.
ended up trading that in for a Honda Accord, which was, really good way to go as far as gas mileage, but also
Yeah.
totally turned me into a fan of Honda. So
Yeah.
been pretty much, aside from my Crown Victoria, I've been buying Hondas ever since. So.
Yeah, Hondas are really reliable.
Yeah, my wife actually had an Accord. I think it was a 2000, and when I met her, it was already 9 years old, and I think it lasted into, I think it was about, what, 15 years old when it finally. Actually, I think it's actually still running. The
Yeah.
family gave it to somebody else, and I think it had, what, over 200,000 miles on it, and it was still, just with everyday maintenance, it was still running really well. So
Yeah.
can't beat that. So that's why we ended up going with an Odyssey for our minivan. There was really no other options there with having the track record we have with Honda.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, you sound like you're about done.
Yeah, it's funny when you're sick, you always feel worse at night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know why that is exactly, but maybe it's because it's the further you go in your day, the longer it's been since you've had a good night's rest. So that's probably
Exactly.
why people get sicker. Like your fevers go up. I'm sure my temperature is a little higher. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm pushing 100 by now. I'm probably going to cut the stream in about 7 minutes. I think I'll choose 8:30 as the time to cut the stream because I am fading and
Yeah.
the beer is wearing off, and I'm back to feeling sick again.
Yeah.
With the fever and all.
I feel you. Yeah, this procedure of mine left me pretty sore. So I'm
Yeah,
looking for grabbing another ice pack and.
yeah. I don't know if it's too personal to say what kind of procedure you had. If it's too
Wasn't sure
personal,
if that would
don't
come
tell
up or
us.
not, but
Yeah.
no, I actually had a vasectomy. So,
Oh, okay.
my wife and I were done having kids, and
Yeah.
both pregnancies were really rough on her. So
My wife and I
after the
talked about that actually, and I don't know much about it. I know my dad had one. I mean, are they pretty bad? I mean, is there a big recovery?
um honestly, the from everything I had heard, and now having had one, I can totally back it up. The anticipation of what you're going to go through, especially being in that region of the body,
Yeah.
is way worse than the actual procedure.
Oh shit.
The only pain you're actually going to feel is ironically, is the shot that they give you to keep you from feeling any pain.
Right.
That was the worst of it, was feeling a sharp needle going into that area.
Yeah.
But after that, it was all pretty much, pressure, and you knew what he was doing down there, but I didn't look. So
Right.
I didn't want to know visually what was going on.
Yeah.
Um, and you just feel pressure, and there's some cauterizing going on, so there is some smell. But
Right.
my doctor was really good about letting me know what was going on as he was doing it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any question like, okay, why does that feel like that, or what's going on there?
How
And I was in and out of the hospital exactly within an hour.
so is this a kind of procedure they can do in the doctor's office, or you have to actually go into the hospital for this?
It was because I'm with Kaiser, so it's
Oh,
everything they do is at a hospital, but it was actually in their medical offices. It was like an offshoot of the hospital.
yeah.
So it's total outpatient. I was in and out within an hour. I think the actual procedure was maybe 45 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And I went in. They, make sure that you're really sure you want to do it, because it's
Sure.
basically like, they say it's reversible, but it's, it's like $8,000 if you want to reverse it, and it's not even 100%. It's like 50-50 whether it works.
Right. Right. Yeah, my wife and
And
I are sure. We're sure at this point.
yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
everybody I've talked to, they've said it was the best thing they've ever done. If they
Yeah.
either don't want to have kids or have had them and are done.
Yeah.
Just because we really only counted on having one, and we ended up having two, and that was enough surprises for us. So
Right.
I kind of decided myself, like, hey, if I can go through maybe a week of discomfort, and then from then on know that there's no chance of anything happening, and that way my wife doesn't have to worry about birth control or having anything done with her, because I know she has some friends that their husbands are like, "No, I'm not going to do it. Why don't you just get your tubes tied?" And it's like, that is a totally different procedure. You have to be knocked out, and it's much more, a high risk operation than the vasectomy. It's just
Oh, absolutely.
kind of a no brainer at that point.
Yeah,
So
I'd never put my wife through that.
no.
I'd be the one to do it. Um, yeah. And is there what kind of pain or soreness? Is there a lot of that after the procedure?
I'd say about I was actually walking out to the car, and that's when I started feeling the soreness.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst I felt of it, was on the way home, and then basically the first day. I mean, I'm knocking on wood because I've heard there have been things like on day 3 and 4 that crop up.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm in just a little bit of soreness, but as long as I don't move,
Right.
I'm pretty much okay. And I did take some rapid release Tylenol, and I've been keeping at least yesterday I kept the bag of frozen peas. That's the way to do
Right,
it.
I've heard about the bag of frozen
Yeah,
peas.
it works because it just really conforms to wherever you need it to go.
Yeah, and
And
then it's numbing, chilling thing.
yeah,
And so they don't have to put you on narcotic pain
nope.
medications or anything like that.
No, they didn't give me anything other than the actual general local anesthesia. And
Yeah.
I walked out of the hospital. I kind of wished I had had a wheelchair, but they
Yeah.
didn't really feel the need to give me one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I walked out, went home, and just I've been taking it easy ever since.
Yeah.
My parents are watching the kids for the weekend. I can just take it easy and let things heal up. So
Yeah, yeah, there you go. And so what's the recovery time? What do they tell you the recovery time is?
about it seems I have gotten a couple different answers, but from my actual doctor, he said about a week is when I should be able to get back to normal. As
Yeah.
far as lifting things, like that was one reason why I had my parents take the kids, because I can't lift anything over like the weight of a milk jug is what they used as an example.
Yeah.
And my kids are definitely over that weight, so wanted to make sure I wasn't in a position where I had to grab them, if they were getting themselves into trouble and I had to grab them. And I've heard the horror stories of guys not listening to their doctor's advice, and um, going back to business as usual too early, and things
Yeah.
swelling up and things being really bad. So I'm
Right.
following their advice to the letter. So yeah, a week is seems to be the amount of time that before things get back to normal. on all fronts.
On
So,
all, yeah. Well, that's good. That's not too bad.
yeah,
That's not any worse than a really bad flu, you know.
right. And depending on your medical coverage, it's not all that expensive. It's definitely cheaper than having another kid.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. So before we go here, before we wrap up, this is something that I kind of wanted to ask. It's a great question that I wouldn't have thought to ask tonight, but
Hmm.
she brings it up. Trina Hill asks, "Have you guys witnessed anything you couldn't explain?" So is there anything? Well, whether it was caught on dash cam or not, have you ever seen anything that you couldn't explain?
Huh. I don't know if anything's coming to mind. Um, Usually it just comes down to somebody, it is sometimes hard to explain why people do the things they do, but
Yeah,
when you really break it down, it's like it comes down to one of a few things, either just impatience or
yeah,
ignorance or just being overly aggressive or
yeah.
there are a lot of things I'll see and I'm just like, why would you do that?
Right, right.
But when
Well,
you really think about it, you can kind of break it down when you really think about just human the human condition in general. You can
yeah.
kind of explain it. So yeah, I'm not really sure if I've ever seen anything that I couldn't explain.
Well, when it comes to things that you really can't explain, then yes, I have had uh, some rather bizarre experiences. The first of which was on a hiking trip with my dad up in the mountains. And we did see something that we couldn't explain. Like this was just off the charts weird. All right. So we both saw an orb, like a shiny metallic object floating through the air. And we're talking, this was like back in the 80s, back in the late 80s, before they had drones and, you know, more logical explanations for things. And it was floating through the air. I mean, it just like drifted across the hiking path directly in front of us, and it disappeared into the trees. It's just like a metallic bubble just floating through the air. The strangest thing we've ever seen. And that was that one. I've seen strange lights in the sky. That again before the era of quadcopters and drones, that have now become mainstream.
Right.
Anybody could buy one and attach lights to it. But I've seen
Oh,
some really, really strange, fast-moving objects with lights on them that don't match traditional FAA registered lights.
right. Could
Crafts
have been
moving through
prototypes. You never know.
prototypes, things moving through the air that didn't make any sound, that were really low to the ground, that just defied anything conventional that we knew at the time. Oh, just really strange things. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, as far as what we caught on Dashcam, I'm going to go ahead and screen share a UFO. And when I say UFO, I'm not saying alien. I'm just saying it's unidentified. We don't know what it
Right.
was.
Yeah, I think
Let
a
me.
lot of people just hear UFO and they think, oh,
They
it's
think
got to be an
alien,
alien.
yeah, and it
It's
could.
just unidentified. It's flying and it's an object.
Yeah, it's flying. We don't know what it is, but here it is. So I'm going to hit the screen share button. Where is it? Screen share. Share. Oh, is that sharing? Do you see it? Did your screen change?
Nothing yet.
Okay, do you see that? Do you see anything?
Nothing yet. Just seeing your logo.
Oh, maybe this didn't work.
I'll have to update my settings. Make sure next time I have a logo instead of just the
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually
symbol.
working. Other let's see. I don't know. Something's not working right. Hang on. Let me cancel that screen share thing real quick. Can we try this again? Screen share. Share. No? I guess nothing's happening. No?
Nothing. Yeah, it
Nothing.
worked earlier.
Yeah, why isn't it working now? Oh, shoot. Application window. Da, 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 da. Weird. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
There we go.
All right, see that?
Yep.
Y'all see that? All right, here we go. This is what was caught on Dashcam by one of my affiliates. This was in Vallejo, and I know you know where Vallejo is, of course, but my viewers,
Oh yeah.
in case my viewers don't know where Vallejo is. So what's weird about this object is that it doesn't have the standard FAA required lights. It has a series of strobes. Conventional aircraft do not normally have more than 3 strobes, 2 on each, or 1 on each wingtip, and sometimes they have 1 on the back end of the fuselage. This one had a very bizarre blinking pattern and had a, like, it seemed to have strobes all over it. Now, the passenger reported seeing a chevron-shaped object that the camera doesn't quite pick up. I tried enhancing the footage, and it didn't reveal the structural object, but she reported seeing that it was a very strange, very much unlike any aircraft she's ever seen. So I'm just filing this in the weird section, you know, like, what the hell was this thing? Some people have suggested that it was a quadcopter or a drone. The problem with that theory is that the dash camera was moving at about 65 to 70 miles an hour down the freeway, and this object is clearly moving faster than the traffic on the freeway. So the object was moving more than 85 miles an hour. If you look at the perspective and figure out how, you know, how fast the dash camera was going, it would have been moving probably faster than 80, 85. And there's no quadcopter that I know of that can reach those speeds. And here we've slowed down the footage so we can see the very bizarre pattern. There appears to be 4 to 6 strobe lights, which is far more than your average aircraft. Could it be a government aircraft that's being tested? Of course.
Yeah, those may not have the standard strobe patterns if it's something that's not.
Yeah, it doesn't have the navigation lights, doesn't have the anti-collision lights, and this is what the passenger saw. So see that kind of bizarre, it looks like a mustache floating across the screen, but that's what she saw. Just a chevron boomerang-shaped object. Very strange. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the screen share. There we go. Yeah, interesting, huh? It's odd world we're living in. We just never know what we're seeing. Now, I can get into ghost stories and all that, but I'm going to have to save that for a future stream.
Right.
Because my wife and I have seen some pretty odd things when it comes to paranormal as well. Our experiences in haunted houses. There are a number of wineries here in the valley that are said to be haunted. Really haunted. One winery in particular is Beringer. You can look this up. There's Beringer Winery is one of the most famous wineries in the valley, and there are a few different buildings on the property, and one of them in particular is said to be haunted. And they go through a lot of cleaning staff. They can't like hold down a consistent staff that stays employed there, and that's because everyone who has worked there has reported seeing apparitions coming through the walls. Like they've seen ghosts coming through the walls, and it freaks them out so bad that they quit the next day.
Wow.
Like it's that traumatizing. I mean, just story after story of that. So, yeah, it just tells me there's got to be something to it. It's like, what is it, you know? Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I know what I'm watching tonight now. After the stream, we're going to probably sit down and watch old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries.
There you go.
With Robert Stack. Yeah, I used to watch that a lot back in the day. You ever seen those episodes?
Yeah, that was what was the guy's name? Stack.
Yeah,
Stack.
Robert Stack. Yeah. Who is himself now a ghost.
Yes.
He died a number of years ago.
Causing his own unsolved mystery.
He was one of the best like narrators I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Man, he just had a skill for that. That's cool. Oh, and someone, yeah, satellite. No, satellites don't have blinking lights like that.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to have.
I've seen satellites, and I know what satellites look like. In fact, the other night I saw the International Space Station going across the sky.
Yep, seen that a few times.
And that is significantly brighter than a satellite. It just looks like a star that's moving across with kind of an orange tint to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an app on my phone where I can track satellites and the ISS. Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing it the other night. Like, there's a really bright light going across the sky. I'll bet that's ISS. I pulled out my app. Sure enough, it was. Yeah. So anyway, any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
I'm pretty much out of thoughts. So I think this will be a good time
to cut it.
Wrap her up.
Yeah, I've got to eat dinner still.
Yeah, same here.
I am absolutely hungry. I'm still hungry when I'm sick and feverish.
Yeah, you gotta feed that fever.
Gotta feed that fever. Gotta fight fire with fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I cut the stream and we're not live anymore, we'll still be in the Hangouts app, so we'll still be able to talk. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it with the crowd here, and then I'll wrap up with you privately after we're not live anymore.
All right.
So, thank you everyone for joining. It's been a pleasure. I probably would have gone longer if I wasn't sick, but I've got to rest up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
For our hike, and I want to be feeling my tippy top shape tomorrow.
Yep.
And you all have a good night, and thank you for coming in. If you haven't seen video 283, go check it out, please. And if you haven't seen Bad Drivers of the Bay Area's videos, please check out his videos. I love his content. I'm always tickled pink when he uploads. I'm like, yes, he uploaded another video that just made my day. So
that's awesome.
You got to check out his videos too.
It's been a little longer. I usually try to go every 2 weeks, but just with everything going on the last week or so, it's been tough to get down and edit.
Yeah.
I'm about halfway done editing number 39 here, so
awesome.
It'll be up pretty soon.
I didn't post a link to your channel. I got to do that. Okay, so everyone who's listening right now, I'm going to post a link to his channel. I meant to do it earlier, and I actually regret not doing it earlier. I just get busy, and
I've seen a few new subscriber notifications come up. So
oh, good. So you're getting some traffic.
Yeah.
I'm going to post in the live chat here a link to your channel.
Cool.
I'm just going to make good. I'm going to make good for what I forgot to do earlier, and I apologize. So that's a link to his channel there. I'm going to put it in the description. Give me 1 second, y'all, before I cut this. I don't know if it won't let me edit it while I'm talking. So after we get done with the live stream, I'm gonna put a link to his channel in there. It'll take a while. It might take a while before it goes public again, but you'll be able to go back and watch the live stream over again if you missed any part of it. And I'm gonna put a link to his channel in it when we get done here. But sub. Or I will haunt you for the rest of your life. And thank you all for joining, and we'll do another stream soon, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.